sponsored by Stan James, your best bet for all the action.
Another bank holiday weekend and a bumper crop of rugby league on Sky Sports. 5 games in all, 3 from the Super League, including Saints against Bradford on Saturday night, and on Monday, Hull against Widnes. Both matches live, Sky Sports 1. And 2 more as usual from Australia at the end of the week when we brought you live and exclusive the start of the State of Origin series. Live Saturday, it's Newcastle Melbourne. Sunday, it's Penrith Canterbury and all the tries scored. Both days 10:30, Sky Sports 2. Right now, a vital night in the Tetley Super League for the Warrington Wolves. They've not managed to win in their last 4 home games, and they're in danger of slipping out of top 6 contention if they don't beat the Wigan Warriors. It's a new home ground for the Wolves, but it's hardly home sweet home yet. Well, it's a big night for some. There are 3 vital games taking place, not least of them here at Warrington. The Wolves must win, otherwise they'll be 6 points off the pace of the playoffs. Down at the bottom, London entertain Castleford and Salford are at Leeds. And Leeds give a debut tonight to the new signing Ali Lauatiti. Now then, welcome to Warrington. We were here, of course, only last Saturday when we saw the Wolves systematically dismantled by St Helens, and it was a really big night for the Saints, but not so for the Warrington Wolves. This game tonight absolutely must win for Warrington if they're to keep tabs on those top 6 playoff places. Now, we were here, as I say, last Saturday. We saw the Saints. Tonight we're joined by St Helens head coach Ian Millwood, who is alongside Phil, Stevo and me. We shall hear from the boys in a few moments' time. But first of all, the big news of the week is that from 2006, Perpignan from the south of France will be admitted to the Super League family. The decision was taken right here in Warrington in midweek.
It's 8 years since Super League launched its first French experiment. The opening night in Paris was a real eyeful, but the adventure only lasted 2 seasons. But in 2006, the French will be back in the form of Perpignan.
It wasn't a unanimous vote, not quite. Wish it had been, but to be fair, it was a good debate, and in the end, it got across the line without it being a 6-6 split. So I didn't have to vote. But generally speaking, I think there is a lot of excitement about Perpignan coming in, and obviously, clubs have to look at it from their own point of view and their own perspective.
On that memorable night in 1996, Paris Saint-Germain beat Sheffield, but it was downhill from then on, and the club disappeared from Super League a year later. But league bosses are convinced that this time things will be different.
Paris didn't have a heartland base of rugby league within the city or within the community. Perpignan certainly do. As I say, 16,000 players within a 2-hour drive. That's a real heartland. It's got regional as well as city support. Catalan is a passionate area in itself, and a passionate rugby league area.
Super League has had its share of French stars like Warrington's Jérôme Guisset since the demise of PSG, and Perpignan in its current guise of UTC has appeared in the Challenge Cup, giving Castleford a real run for their money this season. And it's been confirmed they'll have a 2-year exemption from relegation from Super League.
The key difference is this commitment from Super League, from the RFL and UTC to invest in the project over the next 12 and 18 months. Significant sums of money, six-figure sums, to make sure that we do everything we can to get the club ready for 2006.
League bosses are yet to decide how Perpignan's arrival will affect the relegation process next season, but they're confident the French connection will put some ooh-la-la into Super League.
So we wait to see the exact mechanism of bringing UTC in. They will be in from 2006. Who will drop out? The exact makeup of the Super League yet to be decided, but all that for the future. Right now we say welcome to Perpignan from 2006. Ian Millward, the Saints were down there, 2003 in the Challenge Cup, so you know the system down there, you know the setup. It's a red carpet for them, isn't it? We welcome them, don't we?
Well, what I was impressed with straight away was their enthusiasm. There is talent down here. Jamir Fakir, who is the second rower who just made that break in that clip, has been very keenly sought by Super League clubs. I think he will come on loan to Salford. And there is talent down there, and unless we were going to bring them in, we would lose that talent. It gives us a chance to propagate our international game, which is highly important for the long-term future of rugby league. I think it's a good move, and as long as it's done the right way, and they do have the finances. But I was very impressed when I was down there with the enthusiasm and their desire to be involved.
And if Perpignan can do for the French game what the New Zealand Warriors have done for the New Zealand game in the NRL, it'll be a wonderful move, won't it?
Well, if you have a look at International Rugby League, a little bit a while back, is New Zealand were actually losing players when they're going across to Australia and over to this country in Great Britain. It's given an opportunity to put a structure in place internationally now. New Zealand play Australia. There is not much between the teams. There's fantastic tests, as we've seen with New Zealand 2 years ago against Great Britain. I think if we give it time and patience and the right nurturing with money and development, I think it'll be a great, great setup long-term rugby league. But it's important that we neuter the French good players there, not losing the union, but make them international players for French. And they are there. There is talent there, as we've seen with that clip with the player that has been keenly sought by Super League clubs.
Well, of course, here at Warrington, a Frenchman plying his trade in the Super League, not in the Warrington side this evening to face Wigan. But Phil, you are much travelled. You'd be delighted to be joining us on a little trip to the south of France now and again, won't you?
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great for us to go there, and also the supporters of the sides who go over and watch the games. I think when you listen to the coaches each week that we have on the show, they all talk about the preparation for the game that they're going to take part in. I think the important thing now is the preparation that the French side put into coming into the Super League. I know that their coach Steve Deacon seems to have done a pretty good job. They won the French Cup this season. They are minor premiers at the moment, and hopefully favourites to go on and win their grand final. So next season, of course, their season finishes about the middle of July. It will give them a very much 7 or 8 months build-up time, and with that quality time to prepare, hopefully recruiting the right players and developing their own French players. I think that's an important thing. Maybe not to rely on players who they bring in, but really develop the talent that they have there and maximise the passion that a homegrown player can play with. They'll have every chance when they get into Super League.
Well, that really is where Paris Saint-Germain in the early years fell down, Steve, wasn't it? They weren't really a Paris team. They were a team playing in Paris but filled mainly with Australians. But there is, as Ian has said, the talent in the south of France that we can just forget about that now. This will be a proper French side.
Well, it should be as well, and we just mentioned the fact that Deacon has done a very, very good job as a coach down there. And I think that the Rugby League, well, they should get a pat on the back, mainly due to the fact that most of the clubs, not all of them, but most of the clubs said that they will not be greedy. They want to just share it out and allow another club in. I like it because we can go down to the south of France. It's a lovely area to live, and it's also, a lot of people don't realise that Perpignan is a blue-collar area. There's a lot of people there working class, and whether we like it or not, rugby league is a working class sport. When you take it to a big city like Paris, it was always going to fail because most of the players came from the south of France in the first place. But I would like to see the rugby league, and I'm sure David Waite will have this in order, is to bring over the coach and bring over some of the players to mix in with the likes of Ian Millward and get used to and get to feel of what Super League is all about. We must help them. We must help them in every shape or form. It's not just finance. We have to give them every help along the way.
OK, so we'll see what happens about Perpignan and their appearance in Super League in 2006. Let's now concentrate a little bit more on the game that we have for you live on Sky Sports this evening. As I say, we saw the Saints come here and take Warrington apart last week. Now Warrington go up against the beaten Challenge Cup finalists. And in the Wigan ranks, there's an old friend back in the cherry and white. Gary Connolly, there he is. He's back with Wigan after being released by Leeds Rhinos. And Gary Connolly here is hoping that it's the place that he will see out the rest of his career.
Welcome me back, and I'm now looking forward to finishing the season off with Wigan.
Connolly crossed the Pennines to Headingley last season, and what an impression he made. He scored a try in the Challenge Cup final and won the Lance Todd Trophy, a memorable moment despite losing the game.
Yeah, I got to play at Cardiff Stadium, which is probably the best stadium I've ever played at, and to win the Lance Todd Trophy, that'll be there for the rest of my life. So, and other than that, I mean, I've met some great people at Leeds, and I've friends for the rest of my life. So I mean, I've really enjoyed my time at Leeds, and I'd like to thank Leeds for giving the opportunity to play for such a club like Leeds.
Of course, he has many memories of great wins with Wigan, including grand final glory. He hopes there will be many more to come before he calls it a day.
I'd like to finish off on an high, and obviously I've given me the best opportunity with coming to a club like Wigan, you know, and hopefully we can get to a grand final, and hopefully we can win it, and I think that would be a good way to be sent off.
In a long and distinguished career, Connolly has learned to thrive under pressure, and that's something that won't change whatever colour shirt he wears.
Gary Connolly back at Wigan, where he made his second debut last weekend, exactly 11 years after the first one that he made for the club. It's terrific to see Gary Connolly back, and I'm sure he'll do a great job for Wigan, Ian, because they've had a little bit of an injury crisis, haven't they? And he's filling in the centres tonight. It's a good signing in many ways for Wigan, this.
Well, it gives him a lot of stability. He's got so much experience, and he's, as you can see with his personality, nothing phases him. Defensively, he's one of the best around. He reminds me a lot of Paul Newlove at the end of Paul's career, where Paul lost his speed. What he did was make up, he became a better defender, Paul, and that's where Gary will give them a lot of solidarity across their line.
And when you think about it, Phil, you know, only in the Test series last year, Gary Connolly was Great Britain's #1 choice for that series, wasn't he, in the centres?
Yes, he was, and played very well in the Test series as well. But I think that it's the other centre they welcome back tonight, Martin Aspinwall, who they'll look to do most of the attacking through. Really, he's just back after missing 5 games with a hamstring, but his speed really will be crucial, I think, to attacking Warrington, who are a pretty good side themselves.
Are you surprised that Leeds let him go, Gary Connolly? Richard Mathers has played very well, but no cover.
It has obviously no cover. They have a big enough squad though at Leeds. It's very difficult to keep everybody happy at the time. Maybe you thought that Gary moving on, and also there are several very young and talented players who we've still not seen on the Super League yet, who Leeds could pick. So they're not really short of talented youngsters. We've seen them at other clubs. Leeds have got a bag full of those themselves at their club.
Well, Dennis Betts, the stand-in Wigan coach, because Mike Gregory continues hopefully to recover from his serious illness. Dennis Betts with a 100% record as coach. Gary Connolly also, Steve-O, in his second coming at Wigan, also with a 100% record so far. Will it continue tonight?
Yeah, I think it will actually. I think that the experience of Gary Connolly will certainly help one player, that's Danny Orr. Now, I've been quite critical of Danny this season. It's taken him a while to get into the style of Wigan, but I think tonight is the one day that he will really, really fire. He has to. He's got to stand up. The combination between him and Adrian Lamb has not been good this year, and that is the reason why I think Wigan have struggled somewhat. We all know that from the game against St Helens last week that Warrington are capable of getting over the advantage line. They made so many breaks, didn't come up with the points that they needed, but they learnt a valuable lesson against St Helens, and St Helens showed them that when you get an opportunity, you've got to make sure you get points on the board. It's not going to be easy for Wigan. I know that Paul Cullen will have his side really, really charged up for this one. He was very upset with the way that they played, threw away the opportunities. It will be a tough game tonight, but I just have a funny feeling that Mr. Connolly will, with Dennis Betts, be on the winning run.
Well, it's a close-knit affair, this rugby league, you know, and here at Warrington, maybe just one or two of the players are a little closer than others. In fact, they are next-door neighbours, and Angela Powers paid them a home visit.
They spend most days together training, and at the end of each session they even share a ride home. But when work's over, the Wolves players like their time alone. Well, some of them do anyway.
Everybody needs good neighbor. Just a friendly way each morning.
Wilson, you there?
Helps to make a better day.
Nathan Wood and Brent Gross are not just close friends, they're also next-door neighbours.
The top bedrooms are next to each other. Sometimes I don't get much sleep, but sometimes it's all right.
Rubbish.
So you can knock on the wall then when he's late and oversleeping.
Yeah, there's a few codes we've got going. We're going all right so far. I've got to lock my doors though with Natty around, but other than that, it's been no dramas.
I've just got to get a drill bit small enough for him to not notice the hole.
They share lifts into work and their thoughts on the previous game. And after their 50 points to 20 loss to Saints last week, there's plenty to talk about.
When St Helens took those 2 intercepts, it sort of put the nail in the coffin for us, and I sort of got them to lift another gear. But you know, that's last week. This week's against Wigan, and Wigan put us out the semi-final to play against St Helens in the Challenge Cup final. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of boys busting their backsides to get a win over them.
Last week's last week, and we move on, and we just want to put that behind us and get on with Wigan now. And you know, it's going to be a really tough game come Friday night, and all the players are really looking forward to it.
A visit to the Wolves training ground by Kirsty Howard has helped the boys put that loss into perspective. The 8-year-old was born with her heart back to front, and she'll be the mascot at tonight's game as she continues her attempt to raise £5 million for Francis House for terminally ill children. She's an inspiration to the team as they attempt to get back to winning ways.
We have a bit of a chat as we're going to and from training and try and tip each other in positive ways, and you know, it only helps, and you know, we just keep improving as players ourselves, and as a team I think we'll be at the right end of the competition come the end of the season.
They may be good neighbours, but there's not much chance of them extending that neighbourliness to their visitors tonight.
Next door neighbours Nathan Wood and Brent Gross. Let's confirm that they will actually be taking their place in the Warrington side tonight. Let's have a look at the team sheets. The Wolves first of all, as they are at home. Cardis at full-back, Gaskell returns to the side, Gross is there, Westwood and Appo moves from full-back to the wing. Breers is the captain and Nathan Wood is the scrum half. Forwards, Hilton, Clark and Paul Wood, Noon, Wainwright and Forshaw, as it was last Saturday. And on the bench, Likevol, Sibbett, Gleeson and Stevens, again as it was last Saturday. Paul Cullen is the coach. Now the Wigan Warriors, Radlinski at full-back, Dallas, Aspinwall returns, young Kevin Brown with a broken leg, that's such a pity. Gary Connolly takes his place in the centres, Hodgson's on the wing, Orr and Lamb. And the forwards, O'Connor, Newton and Smith, Hock, Farrell, the skipper, operating these days in the second row, and his brother-in-law, Sean O'Loughlin, takes his place at loose forward. And on the bench, Mick Cassidy, Danny Tickle, Danny Sculthorpe and Mark Smith. The coach is Dennis Betts. So there we are, those two sides, and I wonder where our guests tonight think that this match will be won and lost. Ian, you, as I say, you were pretty dominant, weren't you, last week against the Saints? It was a heck of a performance from your team. Can Warrington bounce back?
Well, I'm certain they can. I think one of the things in their advantage is they had a couple of weeks off because of the Challenge Cup final. I thought a couple of their players, Graham Appo and Chris Likevile, will benefit from the run last week. I think Chris Likevile's a very good forward. He's got some outstanding ball qualities, and he's very rarely played in Super League this year because of injury. When he gets going, he can be very, very handful in defence. So I think he will improve from last week. It's interesting. Did they need the run, Warrington, last week after the break? Can Wigan maintain? Because they've been like us, playing week in, week out. We've had a form line through both teams, having played in the last 2 weeks. I think the difference between the both teams in both games, what opportunities were presented, they didn't leech on them as well as St Helens. So at home here, it's really a stand and deliver performance by Warrington today. Otherwise, they get off the pace a bit, don't they?
Well, it was almost a heat wave last Saturday when we were here. Tonight it's just a little bit chilly, grey overhead, bit of rain in the air as well. Let's go downstairs, check the conditions with Bill on the sideline. He's got all the latest news for us. Bill.
Eddie, conditions are great here at the Hallowell Jones Stadium. It's a fantastic pitch. The Wigan coach Dennis Betts admiring it beforehand. The width he was remarking on, it is very wide, and the firmness of the pitch as well, and that will help the kicking game of these two sides. Kevin Brown, the young Wigan centre, sitting looking very dejected on the sidelines at the moment, watching his teammates warm up. He's just heard that he's going to be out for 8 weeks and not the 4 to 6 weeks as anticipated, with a broken bone in his foot. And Ian Millward has just touched on the fitness issues that are facing the Warrington Wolves tonight. Chris Lightfowl making only his 5th appearance of the season, of course, and only just come back from injury. And Gary Connolly wearing number 33 for Wigan. That's his birthday next month. He's in great humour and in great mood tonight, and looking forward to this one. Back to Warrington. Graham Appo, coach Paul Cullen admitting that he's by nowhere near 100% fit, so it really is a struggle for one or two of these Warrington players at the moment. Not a struggle getting the fans in. Another big crowd here tonight. You know, Warrington's attendance is up by almost 30% on last season. They're up to about 10,500 now, but they're looking forward to a win against Wigan. That's been elusive for Warrington over recent years, but maybe, just maybe, tonight's the night.
We can take great heart about the way that we have played in some games this season. I think we're 4 points short of our target at the moment, Bill, and that's the 2 we lost against Widnes, the 2 we lost against Huddersfield, and the manner in which we lost against St Helens. They're the only 3 genuine negatives that we have to consider. Having said that, we need to start turning the corner and winning some games, even if it's a pig ugly win. We've got to get some wins.
Dennis, you've got a great record against Warrington, but I don't think you can ever take a victory against them for granted, can you?
No, we understand the nature of these games is a massive physical confrontation, and the past is the past. We're here tonight and we know it's going to be a very, very tough game, and we're here to get 2 points, but we know that Warrington are trying to set things right. Their record's not great at the moment, but they're playing some fantastic stuff, and we're just not going to let it be a win tonight for them.
Would it be fair to say that Wigan aren't really hitting their straps at the moment, but you're doing it tough?
Yeah, we're fighting hard and we're getting wins, and we're keeping clawing our way up the table, and we're training really well. We're working hard at our game, and if you keep putting those kind of things in, then you'll get something out.
Thanks, Dennis.
You're welcome.
Big match here. Other matches taking place this evening. Leeds and Salford, 8 o'clock at Headingley. London and Castleford. It's now an 8:15 kick-off at Griffin Park. Very heavy traffic apparently in the capital on the start of this bank holiday weekend, so that's been delayed by a quarter of an hour. And Saints and Bradford, well, mouth is already watering at the possibilities and the prospects of that. 6:05 at Nosey Road. It's live on Sky Sports tomorrow. Sunday then, one match, Huddersfield and Wakefield, 5:30 at the McAlpine Stadium. And then bank holiday Monday, just after midday, Hull and Widnes at the KC Stadium, and that is also live on Sky Sports 1 from noon. Important fixtures taking place this evening, and an important award has to go to somebody. Now, I think I'm right in saying that Martin Gleeson waltzed off with the watch last week as man of the match here at the Warrington Saints game. Who's going to take that home this evening? Well, Dave Hadfield and his panel of experts on the media benches. He's the man, and they are the men, who will make that choice for us a little bit later on in the programme. So who is going to win? It'll be very interesting to see how Warrington bounce back, as we say. Wigan, they've had to front up with important matches every week, just like the Saints, Ian. It could be Wigan's night, could it, do you think?
Well, I disagree with people saying they're not playing well. You know, I mean, you've got to play well enough to win games, and you know, they're getting a little bit of a rhythm at the moment, and with a blend of experience in there with their front row of O'Connor and Smith, and now Connolly in the back. There's some really talented young players there. You know, I think it's a talented squad. On the downside for Warrington is the losses, and they need to win tonight. You know, these local people are going to be actually, you know, barracking like mad to turn that around. This is the opportunity, I think, for Warrington. I just got a funny feeling they can get their money here tonight, but I think it's going to be a tough game. On paper, Wigan look a better team, but I think just on a few little desire issues, I think Warrington can get them tonight.
Well, in the Cup semi-final, Phil, Brett Dallas was the difference between the two, a hat-trick, and I'm sure Warrington will have done their homework on him.
You can do your homework on him, but when he gets the ball and it's a pretty hard job to catch him, isn't it? He's one of the fastest players in the entire competition, and maybe that's the difference we saw last week with St Helens as well, Eddie. Really, the speed that their opponents have had have just been too much for the Warrington side to handle. I think Warrington have been a little bit unlucky this season. They've lost 3 games by 6 points or less, and I think really if they could just improve a little bit on their execution when attacking their opponent's line, and maybe again the defence on their own line, they're going to come up with some wins, but honestly I can't see it being tonight.
4 members of the Warrington side with Wigan connections. That's where they either started or have played during the course of their career. They'll be looking for a big match tonight, those 4, Steve-O.
Yeah, they certainly will, and I think that both sides really, we've just seen the coaches there, they are prepared, they know it's going to be a tough encounter. I think that Paul Cullen would also have looked at the videotape from last week and he would have said, well, we got plenty of movement. The trouble was that the movement was from side to side. They didn't get any good position out on the field of play. They need that. Look, they've got Lee Breers, he can control things, as we saw Sean Long did last week. He has to do exactly the same thing. And the other factor for Warrington, will the real Nathan Wood, will he turn up tonight? He can be a hero, and yet he can be a villain, comes up with many, many errors. The side who keeps the error count very, very low will come up with the spoils tonight, and I just have a funny feeling it's going to be Wigan.
Well, we shall see, and there is another fine crowd inside the new stadium to watch this one. They really have been packing into this new ground. I know that many coaches and many supporters look enviously at the likes of Warrington, Widnes and indeed Hull with their brand new facilities. And this is a terrific stadium, a great arena to watch rugby league, and we're just about ready for the kick-off. A must-win match for Warrington. I think we've made that point throughout the course of the evening. It's Warrington-Wigan. It's next.
The IN.
Warrington-Wigan this Friday night. Warrington, who have lost 3 in a row in Super League and 9 in a row against Wigan. Wigan with the match in hand over Warrington, so a win would put clear daylight between themselves and the bottom half of the Tetley's Super League table. And Warrington inside that dressing room with the likes of Mike Wainwright and Mike Forshaw also in there. Mike Forshaw, of course, who began his career at Wigan. And John Clark had his time at Wigan, as did Darryl Cardis and indeed Dean Gaskell. But this is the Wigan dressing room this evening. No Mike Gregory, of course. He continues his recovery from illness. Back home now from America and the treatment that he underwent last week, and we wish you, Mike, because I know you'll be watching this on Sky Sports with us tonight, we wish you a very, very speedy recovery and hurry back to the Super League and your team. This is the Warrington side that takes Wigan on tonight. Cardis at fullback, Gaskell, Gross, Westwood and Appo, Breers, who's the captain, and Wood. The forwards, Hilton, Clark, Paul Wood, Noon, Wainwright and Forshaw. And the bench, Lightval, Sibbett, Gleeson and Stevens. Coach Paul Cullen. Now the men from Wigan, Radlinski at fullback, Dallas, Aspinwall, Connolly, back in the Wigan jersey, Hodgson, Orr and Lamb. The forwards, O'Connor, Newton, Smith, Hock, Farrell and O'Loughlin. And the bench, Cassidy, Tickle, Sculthorpe and Mark Smith. The coach, Dennis Betts, in the absence of Mike Gregory. This is the scene in the Wigan dressing room just now. They've beaten Warrington twice already this year, 24-26 on Easter Monday and 30 points to 18 in the Challenge Cup semi-final just down the road at Widnes when Brett Dallas ran in his hat-trick of tries. They've won their last 5 in Super League and they are unbeaten in their last 6. They won 2014 against Wakefield under Dennis Betts on Sunday, and here they go looking for 2 in a row under him. Warrington, well, they need something pretty quickly. Their season's gone awry since Easter. Back-to-back defeats at home to Widnes and at Wigan, and then the distraction of the Cup semi-final. Only win in 8 matches for them was at Salford on Sky Sports, April the 24th, when they won by 37 points to 18. Andrew Farrell leads Wigan onto the field. They lost the Challenge Cup final for only the second time in 20 years a fortnight ago, but their Super League campaign gathers pace, unbeaten in their last 6. They have sights now on a return to Old Trafford and the grand final. And Lee Briers comes out, and in his arms is little Kirsty Howard, the only little girl in Great Britain to be born with a condition. Basically, her heart is back to front, and she has raised an incredible amount, £2.65 million, towards the £5 million needed to secure her children's hospice, Francis House. Remember, Kirsty, she was chosen as mascot for the England-Greece game, where she walked hand in hand with David Beckham, and Beckham dedicated that all-important goal of his to little Kirsty. And it's great to see her here, and we wish her well. They have been collecting around the ground here tonight for her appeal. The other mascot, by the way, this evening was Adam Clawley, who bounced his way onto the field as well. This is Steve Ganson, tonight's match referee. We're just about ready to go. Slate grey skies overhead, but conditions perfect now for rugby league. I think the rain has stopped. Rain's been falling here in Warrington for much of the day, but Briers gets us underway at the start of this Super League match. Radlinski's underneath it. Here goes Terry O'Connor. There's the first collision of the game, and Forshaw quickly in, along with Ben Westwood, to bring the prop forward to the ground. Farrell now, the Wigan captain. Good defence from Warrington early on. And an encouraging start.
They certainly needed it. You remember last week it was Warrington came up with a few errors, and now it's Wigan. Wigan have the head and feed. Warrington will have the head and feed. It's Wigan that have come up with a mistake.
Almost deja vu from last week. It was Warrington who made the mistake virtually in that part of the ground on the very first tackle last week against Saints. Now then, can Warrington capitalise on this possession? It's with Cardis, watched all the way by Danny Orr and Radlinski. That's Nathan Wood, gets it wide to Mike Wainwright.
In top form as well, the second row, Mike Wainwright.
Nathan Wood, long ball, finds the captain Lee Briers. Another long ball finds Gross, and he loses it. And Martin Aspinwall picks it up for Wigan. Well, mistakes in the opening 6 for each side.
To be fair, put that down to the attention that Brett Dallas came off the whitewash and really got into the face there of Brent Gross.
Terry Newton, the dummy half. Terry O'Connor, the first receiver, carts the ball forward to almost the 40-metre line, plays the ball to Newton. Here now is Gareth Hock, the young player of the year. He's away from Hilton, but he couldn't get away from the next man in. It was the number 18, Paul Noon, and the kick over the top is an invitation for the winger on the far side, Hodgson, to chase, but Warrington have it back in the shape of Gaskell.
Good kick and chase though. Pretty confident there, the Wigan, a little half Adrian Lamb, and as much that instead of pushing the ball into the in-goal area, you put the backspin on it.
And here's Brent Gross now for Warrington. John Clark, once of Wigan, into Paul Noon again. Second row, loose forward and centre in the last 4 from Paul Noon. A godsend in terms of versatility for Paul Cullen. Good kick over the top, but Radlinski read it well, retreated, collected, and then takes the tackle from Nathan Wood and Mike Wainwright.
One of the best in the business, isn't he? Chris Radlinski just gets himself into a very good position. Interesting to see how this man playing the ball, Gary Connolly, will handle it. He's very relaxed before the game.
Andy Farrell, the Wigan captain, halted. Dennis Betts just watching pensively from the far side of the field. He's in charge on his own at the moment. Assistant coach to Mike Gregory, but he hasn't got Gregory alongside him this evening.
And Dennis is fully aware that Wigan have been scratching their way through victories. And when you look at the Super League account, Terry Newton, he's the leading try scorer for Wigan in Super League with 7. And we know all the quality that Wigan have in their three-quarter line. It just shows you that the half-back combination, Danny Orr, Adrian Lamb, is just not gelling.
There is Terry Newton. He has got 7 tries to his name. This is John Clark. He finds Mike Forshaw, who of course played for Bradford in the grand final against Wigan last year. Here is Lee Briers. Little drop of the shoulder from Breers, but Adrian Lamb wasn't fooled by that. Noon was the dummy half. Mark Hilton went to Wigan, never actually played for the first team, came back to Warrington, and now he's up against Wigan here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. And Nathan Wood with the little kick through, it drifts behind David Hodgson, who has to collect it on his own try line. Enthusiastic chase again from Warrington.
Good percentage football as well by the Warrington side. Everyone thought that Lee Breers, he was standing first man and the receiver, but it went past 3 players right into the hands of Nathan Wood. That's the advantage that Paul Cullen, the Warrington coach, knows. He has 2 very good kickers. Sadly, they didn't get into a good enough field position last week to threaten St. Helens. They've got to resurrect that. They've got to sort it out.
Terry Newton was looking. Oh, that was a pass to Brent Dallas, and it was forward.
Good work by the touch judge on this near side.
Well, they'll breathe a sigh of relief, Warrington, that this was forward.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. Terry Newton actually was looking for a penalty around the ruck because he ran straight into one of the players who wasn't standing square at the play of the ball.
He played the advantage to Steve Ganson, and it was well spotted by the touch judge.
Come to put it back to myself.
The mere fact that the ball was being passed by Newton right on the whitewash on the 30.
Forshaw from the base of the scrum. Mike Forshaw for Warrington. First try for the Warrington Wolves. Mike Forshaw caught them napping. And Forshaw, the man whose long and illustrious career began at Wigan, who came across the Pennines from Bradford to finish his days here at Warrington, gets the Wolves off to a 4-point start.
Boy, that's like hens. That's like hens with teeth. This is the mistake. Forward pass, no doubt about it. Officials got it right. Well, to see a try scored from the base of the scrum like that, that was poor work. They really should have held them through. Oh, Gareth Hawke went right out, left a huge gap, and the experienced Forshaw took full advantage. If you're going to slide away, you should let your halfback slide, and that's the reason why the captain is giving them the round to the kitchen, especially the man who was playing loose forward. Well, I could not believe that. They both slid out, the loose forward and the halfback.
First try on this ground for Mike Forshaw. The evergreen loose forward, 34 years of age, and that's 70th try for his. A 14-year career that began at Wigan, as you saw, in 1990. Now Lee Breers with an important kick to establish a 6-point lead, and he just draws it over the top of the crossbar. Warrington have the 6-point advantage early. Warrington 6, Wigan 0.
Well, a move by Dennis Betts to push Andy Farrell up into the second row and drop Gareth Hawke on that occasion into the loose forward position. Was taken full advantage by this fella, the experience showing. But Dennis Betts will be far from impressed with the way that both Lamb and the loose forward Gareth Hawke shifted out to the left. Left a huge gap for Forshaw.
Last victory against Wigan in June 2001. 47 points to 38. Warrington were 12-0 down after 7 minutes, but then they led 34-18 by half-time. It was the first Wigan defeat under Stuart Raper. Here is Brent Gross now, and Aspinwall gets to him with O'Connor.
Well, that really lifted the confidence of the Wolves outfit, and rightly so. That was a very, very well-worked move. In fact, I'm sure Forshaw was still sort of saying to himself, how on earth did they fall for that one? It's as old as houses.
Big kick downfield by Lee Breers. Well, an early nudge from Mike Forshaw. Maybe he fancies the watch as man of the match. Dave Hadfield.
Well, the way he started, Eddie, he could get it, but one area where Wigan should really have the advantage in this game is the speed of Dallas and Hodgson on the flanks. They'll be very happy if they see plenty of ball. And perhaps the thing that would make Warrington fans most happy, if they could see some of the old sparkle from Graham Appo today. Might be a little early for him, but if they could see some of that, they'd be very cheered by it.
Dave Hadfield, who will be canvassing the opinion of his colleagues in the rugby league media for us, and they will announce the man of the match. 5 minutes of the game remaining.
Great ball and all tackle there by Mike Wainwright. Terry O'Connor came late, little short pass, but he just picked him out. Will that bobble in the goal area? It certainly will.
Job here for Gaskell to do, and he does it.
Did very well.
Hodgson could have been penalised then. He's had a second push at him. Cardis is grounded by Hodgson again.
Well, they were pretty slow with their chase with Wigan. Not the best I've seen. Oh, that's lost.
It's stolen, says Steve Ganson. Penalty to Warrington.
And again, the combination of the man with the whistle. It certainly looked as though there was a loose arm by Connolly dragging that away.
It was Gary Connolly.
Right in front of the touch judge. Well, 2 occasions. Just over 9 minutes into this game, and we've seen the quality of the officials working side by side. Good to see.
Cardis with some pace, and it was halted by Lamb. And Lamb working harder to play the ball to bring Gross down. Noon dummy half. Here is Hilton.
Good work by Danny Orr there. Made himself available, got in between the opportunity of the man trying to offload. Certainly diffused that.
Forshaw again, try scorer for Warrington.
Up for a lot of work. It's a tactic that Paul Cullen uses. He likes to get Forshaw in the action very, very quickly in the opening 15 minutes.
Good ball from Wood to Westwood, and wide it goes to Gaskell. Gaskell, great ball to Wainwright. Went for the kick. Westwood picks it up, and a good job that Farrell was there to complete the tackle.
He should have gone for the option. He should
Nathan
have
Ward
passed.
with the dab into the in-goal area, and that is very easy for the Wigan defence.
Well, a poor finish. And you saw Lee Breers there just point the finger at the head, saying use your brains. Didn't on that occasion. Well, Wainwright took the wrong option here. Good work by the winger. Gaskell got it back on the... He really should have passed. He could see that Ben Westwood was coming back on the inside. It was not the best attempt, and neither was the kick later from Nathan Wood.
This is Craig Smith now for Wigan, getting them to the 30-metre line. Leeds ahead 6-0 against Salford after 10 minutes at Headingley. Remember the other game between London and Castleford kicking off at 8:15. Heavy traffic in the capital. Danny Orr with a big hoof downfield. It's an invitation for Hodgson to chase, but it beats everybody. Let's get down to the sideline. 11 minutes gone. Phil, a bright opening by Warrington tonight.
It is, and I think that considering their recent form, it was important for them to score the first try that Mike Forshaw got on the board. I think that's, if anything, to reduce the anxiety levels, and it should help the performance. Really, they're a side that were, you would imagine, maybe lacking a little bit in the confidence after the way they played last week against St Helens, and needed to score early against the side, obviously, which fancied probably their favourites going into this game as Wigan are. And I also thought last week Paul Wood was very, very impressive in the time he spent on the field, obviously in the front row for Warrington, and keep an eye on him. A lot of things he does are really crucial to Warrington's success.
Cardis was almost through again. Danny Orr was involved in the ruck there, just dived over the ball, but that's a great pass from Breers to Wood, and to Noon rather, and it goes on by Clark to Wood, and he is eventually wrestled to the ground. The ball's come free, and it was punched out.
Now then, Captain Farrell. Was it or wasn't it? Danny Orr was just...
Well, if it was punched out and it's a two-man tackle, it's a penalty, but it's put the scrum down.
But it wasn't a punch out.
Well, that's what the referee has indicated to Andrew Farrell, and Farrell and the Wigan players had gone back expecting the penalty.
But it is a penalty.
It's not, it's a scrum and head and feet to Warrington.
Well, it can't be anything else. He tried to offload. So therefore, it should be... He tried to offload. The ball carrier's lost the ball. It should be head and feet Wigan.
Well,
Steve Ganson is at it again. He plucks them out of nowhere sometimes.
This is Nathan Wood, and from the base of another scrum, there is danger here for Wigan in defence. And this time, it's a penalty to Wigan. He pushed the man, says the referee. He pushed the Wigan defender off him.
Well, it's a bit of deja vu, isn't it? Last week against St Helens, this man made so much progress. Half breaks, full breaks, Nathan Wood. And then he throws a stupid punch straight into the face of Farrell. What on earth was all that about?
Farrell now will drive it forward. Well, penalties are one apiece.
I've seen many a punch, you know, that just riles the opposition and really get them going. That's what they needed.
This is O'Loughlin for Wigan.
Very poor field position, Wigan. Jet, they've really got to launch something.
They might here with Radlinski. Good tackle though by Gross. Danny Orr will dab the ball down, and Dallas with the pace, and Cardis with the bravery.
He got knees in the ribs as well. He's hurting from that one. That's better defence, leading the way Adrian Lamb. Well, Cardis would have felt it. He put his body on the line. No fear factor there.
It goes wide. And here is Wood again. Good tackle by Gary Connolly.
Good tactics, you know, Paul.
Oh, Nathan Wood's hurt.
Oh, don't tell me. Well, I'm just going to say the fact that it is utilising Nathan Wood out wide. He normally is either the first or second receiver.
That's a booming kick. That's a booming kick from Wainwright.
He's got away with it with Redlinski, I think. He certainly has.
Touch judge didn't get the flag up, but that's a great chase from Wainwright, the kicker. That could have been a 40-20, you know. Here's Dallas.
And don't think that Redlinski didn't know that. Look at this. Just at the very split second before the boot hit the whitewash.
Great work from the Wigan fullback, that. Great work from Wainwright with the kick, by the way.
Not too shabby from the man with the flag on the touchline.
Nathan Wood off the field. He was injured in the earlier tackle. Problem for Warrington then, Bill.
That's right, it's left ankle Nathan Wood. He wanted to stay on, but the physio out there with him indicated that they should get him straight off, and that was the decision also from Coach Paul Cullen in the stand. And it's although Wood is back up on his feet now and suggesting that he should be straight back out there, so I don't think it's anything too serious.
Well, it'd be a big blow if they had to lose the services of Nathan Wood. As I mentioned before, the kick-off, Eddie, he's a man that can just be explosive at times and then just goes to sleep and comes up with an error.
Time maybe then for Graham Appo to take the lead. John Clark and Chris Likevall is on. He's the man who has replaced Mark Hilton. This is John Clark again, and Ben Westwood with the Lachlan.
Far too many Wigan players going high. Getting brushed off on several occasions, not completing the tackle.
Kick downfield is from Lee Breers. David Hodgson will collect this. Let's get early thoughts from our special guest tonight, Ian Millwood. Decent start for Warrington, as I said to Phil, Ian.
Yeah, well, both teams have started very well. It's just that they lack concentration and a bit of communication for that scrum, with the reason they're down 6-0. I'd just like to pinpoint to the viewers how greasy that surface is from the rain, and how they're controlling the ball is outstanding in contact and that. The only thing I'm very anxious looking at is the old pro, Mike Forshaw, against the good young buck in Hock and Forshaw, two of the best unloaders in Super League. And it'll be interesting to see who wins the battle here today.
Here is Gareth Hock. He stands in the tackle, but eventually it was brought to ground. Brent Gross was there, and also was Paul Noon. The kick up in the air is from Lamb. It's not the best, and it bounces to Gaskell, who offloads it to Cardis in centre field. Newton's after him, and Newton collars him.
Working hard yet again, the hooker Terry Newton is leading by example.
Gaskell doing well though, but Newton again. Gaskell got away from two, but Newton just dumped him to the ground. Appo dummy half. Oh, loose pass. Lucky to get away with that, Warrington. Lightfall has it for them.
Well, Cardis was receiving treatment there. Ball popped up in front of him. He took a step backward and said, I can't do it.
Here's Forshaw. He maybe can.
Wigan got to tighten up this first-second marker. You can see there that Warrington getting over that advantage line.
Mark Gleeson on halfway, plays the ball to John Clark. Breers with the kick, slides it between the defenders, Hodgson and Redlinski. Redlinski takes control of the situation and takes the tackle from Gleeson. Great tackle from Gleeson and Lightball. The Wigan full-back will have felt that.
Certainly did. Took the wind out of him, Redlinski.
Hodgson.
Well, what was missing last week, Eddie, against St Helens from the Warrington side was a good kick and chase game, putting themselves in a good position to apply the pressure. They've done that against Wigan, and to be fair, Wigan are pretty lucky to be only be 6 points down. It's been Warrington all the way through.
This is Connolly for Wigan. Just like to put a point to Ian Millwood, remembering the cup final and the way that Jason Hooper harassed down Radlinski. Warrington, I think, have been reading the script here, and they've been hounding Radlinski every time the ball's gone downfield.
Yeah, it just seems since Adrian Lamb come back, he's just lacking a little bit of cohesion. He's been out of the game for a long while. A knee reconstruction's hard for any civilian to come back, let alone a sportsman. Radlinski is a good kicker of the ball, but he's there to give him a little bit of pressure. Look, at the moment, it's just like a tennis game. Both teams are on the baseline, and they're serving the ball back deep. And like I keep saying, it was only one error, and that's all it is at the moment. The teams that are going forward at the moment are doing very, very well. It's just that error that both teams are trying to sniff out at the moment.
It's Warrington in possession here with Clark again, and now he finds Breers, who will drift the kick over the top. He's looking for the pace of Gross or Appo. The ball stands still, and, well, Radlinski, they're screaming for a voluntary tackle, but to be fair to the fullback, he got up then.
Just in time as well. It's very rare that an official will penalise them for doing that. We've seen several over the years. You see Ian Millwood having the wry smile. I remember one in the grand final a couple of years ago.
An alleged
by
tackle.
Mr. Joint, yeah.
This is Dallas. Oh, a bit of interference there.
Well, that's good refereeing, you know, because you could sense that what a pass.
Beautiful ball to Dallas.
Just saying, Steve Gann's a good refereeing there. They could sense that Wigan had the roll on. No point in just stopping it.
Here's Radlinski with that kick. He turns Dean Gaskell around, but on the single bounce, Gaskell claims it. Good chase, though. It was a little bit high then, and I think Sean O'Loughlin came off the worst.
He certainly went for the head, as did Terry O'Connor there, and that's been the problem by Wigan so far in this defensive quality, is that far too many are going high.
Oh, what an offload by Lightfall. And it goes via Breers to Appo. Lamb having to be alert there with Aspinwall. This is Warren Stevens.
Quick play the ball by the Wolves as well. That's catching Wigan out.
Gleeson and Clark. I was going to say almost wrapped up. He knocked the ball forward. Farrell has it back for Wigan. Connolly, the dummy half.
Just trying to force the ball a little bit too much there, John Clark. Administrating the football around from the dummy half pretty well in the opening 20 minutes.
Terry O'Connor will trundle the ball forward again.
The big problem for Miss Spets and his Wigan side is they really have not applied any pressure at all. The kicking game, the chase has been lacking on occasions.
Newton on the short side to O'Loughlin.
Slightly forward.
And there's the kick from Lamb. It'll turn Gaskell around. Ball could do anything on this surface, and eventually just drifts its way over the dead ball line. The Wigan supporters behind that goal line saying that the Warrington man had taken it across the line, but the referee, Mr. Ganson, had another idea.
Eddie, I would just say that kick went a bit too far. I think the one element that's really been impressive from the Wigan side has been the kick chase, although now with these offloads it's going to make life a bit harder, but that element really has kept them in this game against the side looking more likely to throw the ball around as Warrington United. It appears, and only a quarter way through the game, as though Wigan are attempting to go down the middle of Warrington.
It's Warrington in possession now with Wainwright on the third tackle, it is. And Nathan Wood is back on the field with that left boot heavily strapped. This is Mark Gleeson. Now it's Breers. And that's a decent ball to Paul Noon. Noon does well.
Well, it appears to me Paul Cullen, the Warrington coach, has said, right, get back out there, Nathan Wood, but utilise yourself as a hooking role. Try to get into the dummy half and just work that injured leg back into the game.
It's with Breers on the last. Expect the kick. There it is, a drifter. And it bounces, it sits up. And Gary Conley just takes it over the dead ball line, and Warrington will have another set of 6.
Good pressure. Wonderful kick from Breers. Well, Farrell said, I couldn't get to it. Good job the experienced Gary Connolly could. Well, if ever I've seen a side on the rack for the opening 20 minutes, it's this Wigan outfit, and Andy Farrell knows it's going to be tough to get back into it. Paul Cullen will be looking for more points. Remember, we made the point, and against St Helens last week, so many opportunities, Eddie, but then he just fluffed it. Didn't get the points on the board when they needed.
This is Lightfold. This is only his second game back. The former St George Illawarra prop. This 11. And here is Nathan Wood. He's broken through, and Wood will score for Warrington.
Injured leg. What injured leg?
Warrington, second try, Nathan Wood. He's played all 15 this year, one of only 2 Warrington players to be ever present, and he's come up with a very important try for Warrington here.
nothing short of brilliant and made the point. Cullen said get back out there and do some stuff from the dummy half position. Talk about do some stuff. Wonderful effort here. Wigan yet again having all sorts of problems trying to get the first and second markers sorted out. They're slow to get back, slow position, and Nathan Wood, the man who can be brilliant at times, he certainly was on this occasion. That was sensational. Listen to the crowd here.
And that will bring a little bit of satisfaction, no doubt, to Warrington coach Paul Cullen.
Eddie, I was just going to make the point there that Ian Millward touched on Chris Lightball and what a talented player he was. It might not look that much just at home on television, just how he showed the ball to a hold of the defenders off him, and then winning that quick play of the ball was really what created that whole opportunity, and a second try for the Warrington Wolves.
And Lee Breer's here with the opportunity for the second conversion of the night, which he misses. Well, I wonder whether that will come back to haunt him later. 10-0 Warrington.
Look at that, one of the markers couldn't get back, facing his back to the opposition, and Nathan Wood goes on a little trail all on his own, little step. Oh, wonderful stuff there.
Nathan Wood, 32 years of age, injured ankle, off the field, strapped, treated, back on, try. And Adrian Lamb has been withdrawn by Wigan. He's left the field. So maybe a rejig here by Dennis Betts. Lightfall again.
Just shows you the importance.
Great offload again.
Just making the point, it just shows you the impact they have. Position is virtually everything in this modern day of rugby league. Wigan just cannot get out of their own half. I don't think they've launched anything in the Warrington defensive red zone.
Be very interested to hear whether the replacement of Lamb is because of injury or whether it's tactics. I'm sure Bill is chasing, and Warrington are chasing another try here, and they're going to get one with Wainwright. Michael Wainwright, a great ball from Gaskell, and Wainwright with the try. He maintains his record of starting every match in the Super League season, and he started this one like a house on fire. Third try for Warrington.
Superb hands out wide. Let loose the winger. And about 15 minutes ago, it was Wainwright that made the break. Went for the kick rather than the pass. It's in reverse order. Gaskell said that's how it should have been done. Good work by Wainwright though. Again, it was Wood. Looked as though it was going open. See how they brought the dummy in. This is a wonderful try. This is well worked. This is no fluke. Something they worked on the training paddock.
Glum faces on the Wigan terraces. Not happy. Mike Wainwright. Well, he scored one in defeat against the Saints, but that has established a 14-point lead. That Wainwright try. Paul Cullen said this week his training has been intense after the defeat by St Helens. He felt they had to lift for the visit of Wigan, and lift they have. Breers missed his conversion from this position just a few minutes ago. Has he learned his lesson? He most certainly has. It looks like Warrington have learned a lesson as well from the hammering by St Helens. They lead Wigan 16-0.
This was all class. Wonderful rugby league football. Look how they sucked the winger in there with a dummy runner. Wainwright, ball across the back of Ben Westwood. And Gaskell did everything right. So did the try scorer. They are running hot. Wigan are shell-shocked.
Well, remember at Knowsley Road on Good Friday, St Helens streaked into an early lead and Wigan hit back, and they got themselves back into a position to at least get a point. But we've got news from Adrian Lamb coming in. Bill.
Well, Eddie, the word from the Wigan bench is that there's no injury to Adrian Lamb. He hasn't been struggling with anything going into the game. He hasn't picked up an injury. And you've got to assume that it's a tactical switch by coach Dennis Betts, who's down there on the sidelines now, just trying to spark Wigan into life so that maybe they can get some points on the board before half-time.
The reason I was interested in that news about Adrian Lamb, of course, because Luke Robinson is away from Wigan at the moment on loan with Castleford. Allowed to go on loan, but Lamb off the field. And tactics. It's Danny Tickle who has replaced him. He was there at the play of the ball. Here is Farrell making no progress. And Dennis Betts knows there are a problem or two here.
Well, it's foreign territory, isn't it? This Warrington half for the guys in cherry and white. Any opportunity to launch anything. In fact, we've just seen no attacking skills from Wigan at all.
Here's Danny Sculthorpe.
Put that down to very good Warrington defence as well. Talk about getting into the opposition faces. They're doing it well.
Farrell drifts the kick over the top, and Dallas is hunting this. Apo, he's going to have a lot of work to do to get out of this. That's a good chase by Wigan. First real opportunity then, second set of 6. Maybe will that turn the course of this first half? Ian Millward.
Well, it's been interesting. This is the first time Wigan have actually going to attack inside the Warrington 30. And it's quite interesting. It was the first time Warrington actually got attacked from a repeat set up the other end. This is the challenge here. Welcome to coaching, Dennis Betts. 16-0 now. Dennis, get in the hot seat. But the big thing is, I don't think it's all over here. Definitely not at the moment, even though I went for Warrington. They need some continuity at the moment. They give away no penalties, Warrington. They've had all field position. Now, let's see if they can defend.
Well, they're going to have to defend here because this is Sean O'Loughlin.
The biggest problem, and we've seen it so often in the past with this Warrington outfit, OK, they've got a commanding lead, but can they just hang on to it? You know, they've got to keep their concentration high, especially to half-time at least.
Sculthorpe eventually gets to his feet. Newton, the dummy half. Danny Orr. Here is Farrell. Farrell finds Gareth Hock. He hangs on despite the attention of Brent Gross and Paul Noon. Farrell again. Danny Orr. Danny Orr. Oh, he's almost through. Oh, he gave the pass to Wainwright, who must have called.
He did, and it's no good. Danny Orr running to the referee and saying, oh, he called, sir. No rules say that you can't call for the football. If you don't have the brain in working order and you pass it to him, and he's saying, look, sir, he called for it. Dennis Betts said, who cares, we've lost possession. First and only time in the half that they've got a chance to turn the screw. What do? They give them a dummy straight into the hands of Wainwright.
Let's take a look at some of the scores. Leeds 24-0 against Salford after half an hour, and Castleford 6-4 up after a quarter of an hour in the capital against London. That's a crucial match at the foot of the table. And Breers with the kick, and he finds touch over on that far side. Just trying to wind the clock down a little as we approach half-time.
Well, he's got the right tactics, hasn't he? He just doesn't want to just turn them around and get them in that field position. We keep saying that. The Wigan fans at the other end, they'll be saying, well, we're not getting our money's worth here. They'll look like matchstick men round at the other end because they have not seen the cherry and whites apart from that last little foray a couple of minutes ago. But full credit to the Wolves. Their defence has been solid. Wigan's poor.
Strong run from Farrell. Forshaw and Noon in there. This is Aspinwall from the dummy half. Back in the side, Martin Aspinwall. He's missed the last 5. Hamstring problem in the cup semi-final. Go on, Tickle. And the ball to O'Loughlin. And out the back door. It went backwards. Play on. Hodgson has the possession for Wigan.
Interesting to see Dennis Betts has sent out the message to Gary Connolly to start taking first receiver. Take control there.
Craig Smith. Good lumbering run, and he's escaped the clutches of 1, escaped the clutches of 2. Cardis with an important tackle on the last. Wigan looking for a quick play of the ball. Here's Terry Newton. This is Danny Orr. Stabs the kick through. Picked up. Back it goes to Newton. Newton with the kick across field, looking for Dallas or Aspinwall. Finds Aspinwall. Apo misses him. Aspinwall. He's in, I think.
No, he's short. The first contact was definitely short. They'll probably have to check whether it was a second movement. Touch judge is sending out a message. but the first contact was certainly the field of play. He did very well, didn't he? The pressure and the power to get him anywhere near. Aspinwall, watch him lunge out. That's short. He tries to force it. Now then, how do we restart this? Did he lose possession? Now then, has he lost it, or has he regained it? There's no try. That you can guarantee.
But it's on the last tackle, so if he has lost it, it is no try. It's got to be a handover, surely.
Yep.
And there it is. That's as close as Wigan have got, courtesy of Martin Aspinwall. And it's the turnover right back on the Warrington line. Now it's an important set of 6 coming up here for Warrington and indeed for Wigan. Wigan looking for the mistake, Hilton hanging on.
Well, they didn't come up with the 4 points, but it'll certainly lift their spirits in a game that they just have not been involved.
That's Paul Wood making his 90th appearance for Warrington tonight. This is Forshaw giving it wide to Nathan Wood. That's good ground made by Warrington on that tackle. Here now is Forshaw. Inside it goes to Mark Gleeson. And Wood again, but Tickle after him, but he's still got the ball away to Forshaw, and Mike Forshaw on a lovely run. Oh, they're not tackling him.
Oh, it's a mile forward as well.
I think it was flicked by a Wigan hand anyway. Connolly drops on it gracefully.
Well, that could have been the end. That could have been curtains for Wigan. And the thing that surprised me was that Forshaw looked the fastest. He's not the youngest. He's been around a long time as this fella.
And he was allowed to run and run with that without anyone coming to get to him.
No one got anywhere near him.
This is Brett Dallas. They're watching him closely tonight after the damage he inflicted on them in the semi-final. This is O'Connor.
They played well, the Wolves. This has been a very professional performance.
Oh, and Craig Smith. Well, your big players cannot come up with errors like that when you're 16-0 down.
I just cannot believe it. You can see clearly he takes his eye off the football. Phil, Wigan, they're out of sorts. They're just not getting the foundation with the forwards. It's not just happening, is it?
No, it isn't. I think the biggest element, they're losing that little battle that takes place every time there's a collision, isn't it, where the defenders hit the attacker, and they're just not managing to play the ball as quickly as their opponents. Maybe again you put that down to the skill and technique of some of the Warrington players when defending, and Paul Wood, when he takes the ball forward, he manages just to get through quickly and get up quickly, and it's that speed of the play of the ball. It only needs to be half a second difference between one team and another, and it can make such a huge influence really on the energy levels of the Wigan side at the moment, who seem to be on the back foot.
Mark Gleeson, dummy half for Warrington. Wood gets it to namesake Nathan Wood. And next Friday, by the way, Wigan have a date with St Helens at the JJB Stadium. It's live with us, and it's quite a weekend because Bradford Leeds follows that up on Saturday evening at 6 on Sky Sports 2. And it's an all-ticket, near sellout that.
Another probing kick by Lee Breers. It was critical of the kicking game from Warrington last week, but boy, they've worked hard in that department.
Good tackle from Mappo on Aspinwall.
And so has their defence been, well, it's been outstanding. Look at this.
Terry Newton picks up the pieces, Gross is after him, he offloads though to Danny Orr. Here is Craig Smith.
No room to move. That's been the key.
Angled run from Danny Tickle.
Not only that, Eddie, this Wigan outfit, when they do have the football, it's very much one out.
Well, as you can see, Wigan do hold sway, usually in these meetings. Certainly since Super League began in 1996, but tonight, Warrington 16-0 ahead as we approach half-time. Good kick though, this from Danny Orr. Gaskell. Oh, doesn't he do well?
Certainly does. And yet again.
Penalty to Wigan.
Held him back. Oh, this could be a vital penalty be given away.
right on the Warrington line.
Well, there's certainly a hand in there. You'll find that Lachlan was the man. And Dennis Betts has been around long enough to realise if they can just poach a try before half-time, it'll just set the nerves in the Warrington camp.
This is a crucial set of 6 for Wigan and for Warrington in the context of this match. Greg Smith is halted.
Will Newton go on his own? I think he will.
Newton, well, he was looking for it. He finds Danny Orr, and that's a great tackle there by Paul Newton.
Unbelievable. Just banged a little standoff right to the ground. That's a poor pass.
It's a shocker.
That should be a penalty. He was held back.
First knock on Warrington Evansville.
Head and feed to Warrington.
What a shocker of a pass there. That should have been a penalty, you can see there. This is the one there who was holding back. No doubt about it. Official saw it, got it right.
So Warrington with the opportunity to work the ball away from their own line with Nathan Wood, who's having a blinder. Oh, and that came off David Hodgson. It's going to be head and feed to Warrington again.
He just had a little smile on his face. Nathan Wood, when he makes the break, what a game he's having. Took the gamble. Look at that. This is a guy that was carted off 15 minutes ago.
Warrington with head and feed then at this scrum in the last, and he's still limping again, is Nathan Wood in the last minute of this first half. It's Forshaw again from the base of the scrum. This time they're watching him closely, Gareth Hock and Sean O'Loughlin.
Now will they be happy just to get on with it and go in with a 16-point lead at half-time?
Cardis.
Not that Paul Cullen wouldn't mind another try just to finish them off.
This is Paul Wood.
They've just blitzed Wigan, you know, in and around the ruck area. Fully controlling everything.
If Paul Cullen could cancel half-time, he would tonight. He's headed off downstairs. He's anxious to get to his players when the half-time siren sounds in a few seconds. And Breers with the kick. It runs dead in goal. It won't matter. The half-time siren sounds. And Warrington turn round with a 16-0 advantage at half-time. Forshaw, Wood and Wainwright with the tries. And Breers with a couple of goals. And that's arguably the best 40 minutes that Warrington have had for a long, long time. They've lost 3 in a row in the Super League, but they were given a great start with this Forshaw try. And Warrington never looked back. 16-0.
Twickenham will rock for 2 days. On Sunday at 2:30, see England versus the Barbarians. They come guaranteed to thrill.
The crowd came for moments like that.
But first, the big day for club rugby is tomorrow. From 12:45, the wildcard final for a place in the Heineken Cup. And then the Zurich Premiership final, Bath v Wasps.
This could be something special.
One game to decide the champions. Sponsored by Zurich. Every game on Sky Sports 2.
It's amazing what can happen when you bring objects of such quality together. The beautifully built Ford Focus C-Max. Experience this quality by taking a test drive.
Get your beauty sleep in the biggest flatbed in business class.
Fruit to life with the Kenwood Smoothie Maker, only $34.99.
With B&Q clearance, we've up to 50% off hundreds of products, like this cordless drill, now only $14.98. And this circular saw with red-eye laser line technology is just $24.98. And at B&Q, we've up to 50% off selected fires too. This hot flame fire is under £49. And this complete fire suite is under £165. Hurry! Clearance at B&Q ends soon.
My dad loves to go fishing. All you need is the right gear. Well, there's the rod, obviously, a reel and lines, net, a chair, a big umbrella, sandwiches, a lucky hat. Oh, and an Environment Agency rod licence. Because without one of these, there's no point in having all the rest.
You can get an Environment Agency rod licence from post offices or on our website. Otherwise, you risk being fined up to £2,500. There's more to life. Go fishing.
If you don't want to sneeze and you don't want to wallow.
One-a-day Zyrtec hits hay fever hard.
Zyrtec controls your hay fever blues.
Well, it's another big weekend of rugby league here on Sky Sports. Saints and Bradford is the Saturday match at 6 on Sky Sports 1, and then on Monday at noon, Hull against Widnes, also on Sky Sports 1. In all, we have 5 matches. This one we're watching tonight, and 2 from Australia. Newcastle, Melbourne, Saturday 10:30, Sky Sports 2. That's the live game. 10:30, Sky Sports 2 Sunday for Penrith and the Canterbury Bulldogs. Half-time, and it's Warrington 16, Wigan Warriors 0. That's a surprising scoreline for a lot of people. 3 tries to 0. Briers with the 2 goals so far. Well, Warrington in that dressing room know that they have denied Wigan a win just 3 times in the Super League era in 18 attempts. 2 wins and a draw. The draw 17 all in July 1999. But I bet Paul Cullen is saying in the dressing room now, remember when we had Bradford Bulls here not long ago on a Tuesday night? We played like that in the first half. We let the champions back in the second half, and they sneaked away with a point. And I wonder what Dennis Betts is saying inside that Wigan dressing room. He's one of the all-time greats. 8 Challenge Cup finals, Lance Todd winner in 91, over 350 appearances, 129 tries. 1987 to 2001 he played for them. But as Ian Millwood said during the course of that first half, welcome Dennis to the hot seat. I don't think there's anywhere in the world that means you can graduate in coaching and endure the 40 minutes that Dennis Betts just has. But here's someone who has endured it all. Not many times has he seen his men turn round with a 16-0 deficit, but it's a tough old school you're in, isn't it? And Dennis knows he's in the hot seat now.
Well, I think both coaches would appreciate the half-time, even though Warrington were on a roll. I noticed Nathan Wood and Daryl Carter both limping off, so he needs to ascertain that, Paul Cullen. But also, I think he needs to reaffirm all the good things they've been doing and how they're going to have to do it in the second half. Because I mentioned in the commentary at the 31st minute, can they defend now, Warrington? Because they've had a lot of flow going with them. And I was very impressed with their line speed and the way they got off the line and into Wigan, which caused some errors. What Dennis has got to have a look at, it's 40 minutes. There's plenty there for them to get out of it. But they need to get in the opposition half. They need to apply pressure. I thought their front rowers have done well, but unfortunately, a couple of times they've come up with some errors. So, I think the scoreboard's a fair indication of the opportunities Warrington have had and took. It's a little bit of an uphill battle for Wigan at the moment, but I think Dennis will be laying down the law. We've got the calibre here. What are we going to do about it?
Does it surprise you he's taken Adrian Lamb off? I know that the halfback is so often pivotal to you coaches and your plans. Lamb withdrawn.
Well, I thought it was quite amazing that they come through and said he didn't have an injury, whether they're hiding that from the fact. They've always stated all along that they work with Lamb, and it's been proven over the last few years. When he come back, they got through to the Challenge Cup final, and they've been playing in good rhythm. Quite an interesting decision if he isn't injured. I think the other interesting thing is people, once again, it's been very greasy here, the ball. It has been raining earlier, and the amount of movement of the ball by Warrington is quite incredible. And if you look at the completion rates, they're at something like a 90% completion rate, and the opposition are only just a touch over 50. And I think that tells you a little bit of a story of the two halves.
They say, don't they, a week's a long time in politics. Steve-O, it's a long time in the Super League. This is a totally different Warrington side than the one that played Ian Millwood Saints.
Yeah, well, we said that Paul Colliner was incensed last week that they didn't come up with a win against St Helens. They've worked very, very hard. We spoke about the field position. That's one thing that Warrington did exceptionally well. They got themselves into a position, but this is, well, it's as old as me and Ian Millwood put together. The loose forward and the halfback, you don't do that. You don't move out together. One stays, make sure that you stop the dummy. Full credit to Forshaw. And then this is a man who's got more strapping than Arkle, and he was off the field for 10 minutes. Then he comes back in. They can't get to him. He just gets speed from nowhere. He's absolutely sensational. You can't stop him. But this on the blind side, Ian, was wonderful.
It's interesting. Chris Likeville was the one earlier who's created so much doubt with the ball in his hand. And the trouble then was Nathan Wood was smart enough to notice the short side. They had numbers, and he took it so well.
Well, this is the one and very, well, few opportunities came Wigan in the first half. And Aspinwall, well, got close. The video referee got it right, the official. In fact, the officials have been very, very solid. You know, there's an old saying, if you want to dip your toe in the water, you've got to at least get on the beach. Poor old Wigan, they're still in the car park.
Geez, some cliches in this room, isn't there?
Where have we got that one from? That's a brand new one, isn't it?
Gee, I'm gonna buy his book of cliches. It's incredible. When's it on sale?
Yeah, it'll be a bestseller, I'll tell you. Well, let's get down to Phil Clark before we get any more of that. Phil, what do you make of the first 40 minutes?
Well, I think it'll be a game of two halves, Eddie, really, being quite brutally honest. I thought that really the way the game started, Wigan did seem to attack Warrington in the middle of the field, and I thought really they looked pretty strong here. They were breaking through the tackles, Gareth Hock getting through on one occasion, and really Craig Smith, it was quite clear that Wigan wanted to target Warrington's defence just around that ruck area, and I thought maybe a little bit unlucky. Here we see the pass that goes forward from Terry Newton, but that was the area that they looked strongest and looked most likely to break through the Warrington side. Again, another good run from Gareth Hock and an offload, players looking to support around the ball carrier there, but it didn't really come from them. And as the game wore on, Wigan did seem to tire, really, probably because of the fact doing a little bit more defence than the Warrington side. I don't really think it's that different from the Warrington team we saw last week. They're just taking the chances and play with a bit more confidence, having been the first to score.
Well, it's a big hill that Warrington have put in front of Wigan. Can they climb it? You know, it's 40 minutes, 16 points to be fair. The game isn't over, is it? Wigan will come out and I think they can win the second half.
Well, I think a lot of depending in that dressing room on Nathan Wood. I think he's been the best attacking player in the first half. But on top of that, he's been mixing his kicking game up with Lee Breers. And the kicking game from Warrington has been better. And that's one of the reasons why Wigan have not been able to attack the Warrington line. So I think that's a big, big issue at half-time, how he stands up to that. And like I said, they're moving the balls well, their unloads are good. Can they maintain that? The big question is, they haven't had a win for a while, Warrington. Can they maintain for another 40 minutes? They will live off any scraps they can get in the second half, Wigan. If they take that out of the game, it's Warrington all the way home.
Well, Warrington know if they lose tonight, they're 6 points off the pace as far as the top six is concerned. If they win, they are right back in it. And that's the way that Warrington, I'm sure, will be looking at things in the second half. There's a game of touch football taking place on the field between Danny Lehman and Steve-O. And it's a knockout, isn't it? That's what it used to be. And a Saints jersey out there. Did you see that? Saints jersey was there. Nathan Wood's had a big half. He needs a big second half, as do Warrington, to hang on to this. They lead, though, 16-0.
Sky One series, we bring you the very worst of everything.
I lost all my muscles. Now it's just a bone.
Beginning with the very worst sporting disasters. Starts 9 o'clock this Sky One Sunday.
Hey, you know what I mean? So good. Hey, hold on here. Hello. Hello? Sarah?
It's babysitter.
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, okay, put her on. Hello, Brittany. It's Daddy. You what? She's having nightmares. About the wardrobe monsters. Just sweet dreams. She's gone. 2 more lambooners here. What?
Most calls you make as a business are within your local region. Choose the 2 area codes you use most, and O2 will give you 40% of all calls to them. See business differently. Call 0800 781 0202.
Celebrate 10 years of FHM's 100 Sexiest with every woman you've ever admired in one place. FHM, out now.
Well, see, the European Parliament is on. I don't do politics. Surely they're not digging it up again.
You don't do politics, remember?
How come we never win anything?
Naughty, naughty.
£3.50?
Now then.
Well,
Oi!
If you don't do politics, there's not much you do.
What, last orders is... sorry.
Call or click to find out about elections in your area.
To see if you can save up to £199 with AA car insurance, just ask. Call 0800 294 7777 or buy online.
You'll be pleasantly surprised by B&Q's inspirational designs from around the world for our new garden furniture. The simple lines of American design influenced our Rhode Island, just £350. The Canterbury, at just under £1,000, is made from hand-chosen Roblé wood with natural protecting oils. And you'll notice a flair of French design in the Riviera, only £300.
Surprising garden furniture at great B&Q prices.
Welcome to the month. The entertainment CD-ROM from the Sunday Times. Kick off the summer with the ultimate guide to summer festivals. See the bands, read the stories, and find out who's playing where. There's also 8 new films to preview, including the latest Harry Potter. And 130 samples from June's biggest albums. It's the hottest month yet.
Hello? Hello?
28 days later, tomorrow at 10 and 10:30 on Sky Movies.
Coming up this weekend, we have action from the Football League playoff finals. Tomorrow from 1 o'clock, Sky Sports 1, it's Division 1, as Crystal Palace and West Ham fight for that place in the Premiership. And on Sunday from 2, also on Sky Sports 1, it's Division 2, Brighton against Bristol City. Warrington have never led by 16 points to 0 at half-time throughout the course of this season, and Wigan have never trailed by 16 points throughout the course of this season at half-time. So what does that tell you? Wigan are about to get this second half underway. Can Wigan come back? That's the big question that lots of people will be asking. And can Warrington hang on? Been very determined from the first whistle, the Warrington Wolves. Radlinski gets us underway again. Mark Gleeson's underneath that, and here comes Mark Hilton. And another good, strong, determined run, met by the tackle from Gareth Hock, the reigning young player of the year.
Well, obviously Paul Cullen would have said more of the same in the second half.
That was lost.
Lose it, and it was not picked up by the official. I think the important factor, and I'm sure that Paul Cullen, this is the incident when he lost it, little doubt about that.
as Judge Snyder, the man with the whistle, picked that up. But I think it's important that Warrington now, and Paul Cullen will realise that the kicking game in the first half was so instrumental of them getting at least 2 of those tries.
The kick and chase
has been good.
Has been excellent from Warrington. Opening exchanges of the second half here. Half-time scores, 28-0 leads over Salford at Headingley, and just 2 points in it at Griffin Park. Castleford 10-8 up against the London Broncos. Such a vital night that for both those clubs, bottom and next to bottom of the Super League table.
And no more so for Wigan as well. You know, at half-time we have the cameras in the dressing room, and I just got the impression that the body language of the Wigan players wasn't good. Certainly didn't look positive.
High kick downfield, and Appo allows it to bounce. It bounces kindly for him. Then he passes the ball in field to Darryl Cardis. And here now is Michael Wainwright. A fine first half, Wainwright crowned it with the try. Well, we talked right at the start of tonight's programme about the French and Perpignan coming into Super League in 2006. Here's the Warrington French connection. Jerome Guisset with Bill.
Jerome, 16-0 up against Wigan. That's as much as Warrington could have hoped of, surely.
What a break from Nathan Wood. He's got Gaskell. Oh, he's taken it himself. Gaskell was on the outside, but Nathan Wood comes up with his second try of the night. And he's left the building, Nathan Wood. Disappeared down the tunnel. Where's the try scorer? The try is given. He's back. He's back on the other side. He went down one tunnel, ran right round, and came back up the other tunnel.
Well, a couple of weeks ago we saw Lee Breers score the try, jump over, and then Wright sit in the stand. And I think you'll find that the official Steve Ganson is not too impressed with it either.
Listen, I know you're excited, but you can't go through the crowd. All right.
He's right.
He's spot on, is Steve Ganson.
Not only did he go through the crowd, he went through the Wigan crowd. If he'd have gone at that end, there wouldn't have been a problem, but the score was at the other end that is populated by the Wigan supporters. He went down one tunnel, ran 40 yards and came back the other side. The try, though, is vital for Warrington.
But what a dummy. We mentioned before the game that Gary Connolly we thought would bring a lot of experience, but I must say they've been catching out the 2 centres, Aspinwall and Connolly, time and time again. This man has had his eyes on the tick-tock ever since the kick-off. Off he goes. The official is right. We can do without that. Be excited by all means. And you'd have to feel excited, you'd have to feel thrilled when you've thrown 2 marvellous dummies against 2 of the greats of rugby league. He came back onto the field of play. The smile was added with the 2 points.
Lee Breers makes no mistake. Well, Wigan needed to score first in the second half. It's Warrington who scored first. They are 22-0 up. And they are playing with such a spring in their step. It will be very difficult now for Wigan to come back. So dare we go back down to Bill and Jerome again? Yes, go on, Bill.
16-0 was good, 22-0 is not bad.
Even better, yeah. I think the boys have started the game very well. Played Wigan where they're a bit shorter out wide, and I think it's working for them.
And Nathan Wood, what can you say about him?
Mate, he's very dynamic and very quick out of dummy half, and he proved it tonight with 2 great tries out of dummy half again. I think he's leading the pack, and I think the boys are following him very well.
You've got a bit of a pause. Can I just ask you your reaction to the news that Perpignan are joining Super League?
I think it's great news for French rugby league in all. I think it's great news for UTC as well, but I think for rugby league, even for Super League, I think it's great news.
Thanks, Jerome.
Thank you.
Jerome Guisset, he is a Frenchman despite the Australian accent. He picked that up during his time in Canberra. But he is very much a Frenchman, a French international. But it's the internationals in the Wigan ranks that have to dig deep here, because this game is in danger of running away from them. At 22-0, it's very nearly gone anyway.
I'd have to agree with you there, Eddie, and mainly due to the fact that you need a good captain's knock. That was a great tackle, wonderful low tackle from Mark Gleeson. I'm just making the point, he's scored a lot of tries, you know, as Nathan Wood throughout his career, but it would have given him so much satisfaction with the fact that he dummied first Connolly, then he dummied Radlinski. Not a bad pair.
Here's Radlinski, Nathan Wood's right in his face, have to keep the movement going. Hodgson tries to dribble it round Gaskell, the ball finds touch.
Warrington head and feed, Stuart, yeah.
And Warrington's head and feed it will be.
Left for no other option there. Good work from Gaskell.
Just bounced off his foot, but he didn't play it.
He just kept moving there and just made himself big and tall. No way in the world that the winger could get anywhere near to it. And don't be surprised, you know, if Warrington, 22-0 up, full of confidence to try something very deep from within their own half. Listen to this crowd here.
Well, there were a lot of disappointed faces on the terraces last week when Saints came here and won 50 points to 20. 22-0 against a team of the calibre of Wigan is not a bad response. And the Wigan fans a little bit dumbfounded, I think.
I think they're more disappointed with the fact that, you know, they haven't got their field position, but the big stars, the stars for so many years that they've relied upon, they just haven't stood up.
10 metres, Warrington!
Hodgson pings the ball inside to Radlinski. It's a great chase again, though, by this Warrington defence. Moving up as one unit. Wigan just can't break through them at the moment. Hodgson tries, but again they hound him down. Gaskell and Forshaw. Dallas, whose speed was the key in the semi-final. Here is Terry Newton. Terry Newton now. Good run from the hooker.
Much better than trying to get on with it. That should be a penalty. Wainwright's all over the top.
And it is.
Should be a quick tap from Farrell. Get on with it. That's what he wants to do.
Well, he'll pump it into touch. No, he won't. Quick tap, you're right. And here is Tickle. But that's a great tackle by Paul Wood, who is in there again to hound O'Connor down.
Now this is the point where Danny Orr really has to take on the defence.
It goes away from Orr, gets to Radlinski, back on the inside to Craig Smith. And Craig Smith, that's a great effort from the prop forward. And that is exactly what Wigan needed at that point in time. And Paul Cullen going absolutely potty. But something at last for the Wigan supporters to cheer. The try from Craig Smith.
Well, I requested that Danny Orr make the presence there, back on the inside, and it was Radlinski that came to the rescue, back with a beautiful pass, and Smith, sensational. He knew where he was going. Radlinski pushed Danny Orr out wide to take first receiver, and they've come up trumps with the try. They needed that. They were looking down the barrel of a real thrashing.
And Andy Farrell, the captain, adds the extras. He will be 29 on Sunday. The rain falls here in Warrington. Steve-O insisted that when Wigan got out of jail at Knowsley Road on Good Friday, it was down to the rain. Phil, what do you say?
I don't know whether it's the rain or whether it's the mental toughness of some of the senior players like Andy Farrell, really. They can hang in there when things aren't going well for them, and they've got the experience to tell them that if they carry on doing the right things and the simple things well, then they can get back in and they'll have a chance of scoring some tries and getting themselves back into this match. But really they haven't played well, and I would say it's probably further. They've got a lot of players who are good players but are going through maybe a form slump at the moment, and that's happened to too many maybe at the same time. They really know to spark with some enthusiasm on the back of this try. They've got to get it well up to the halfway line, if not over it.
And they certainly have plenty of options left to them off the interchange bench. It's a big half so far for Wigan, and for this man Craig Smith, who plays the ball. And Forshaw was stood in front of Terry Newton, who put his hand on his chest, and Danny Orr nearly lost that.
Warrington.
And O'Loughlin with the kick downfield. It will turn Darrell Cardis around. The chase now from Wigan has to be good. And Hodgson leading the way. Cardis nearly gets past him. Help, though, arrives from Connolly. Here's Dean Gaskell.
It's important now that the composure is what Warrington will look for. Just get himself out of the danger. Nothing silly, nothing fancy. They've still got a convincing lead.
Lightfall. Standing head to head there with Newton and Farrell.
Well, we've seen the likes of Terry Newton and Andy Farrell get to and dig deep when they need to. They certainly do now. Talk about a captain's knock.
Good kick from Breers to get Warrington out of trouble. They only made 27 metres with ball in hand. Warrington, it was a good set of 6 defensively by Wigan. Now they're in the offensive mode, and it's with Connolly.
This is where the likes of Dallas has to inject himself into the centre of play.
I think David Hodgson is hurt as Terry O'Connor battles his way upfield. This is Terry Newton. Farrell on the run. Good ball then to Craig Smith again.
Much better approach. The best of the game as far as Wigan's concerned.
They've been encouraged by that try. Newton goes down the line side. Not the best pass. It bobbled all along the deck. It's picked up though, and this is Aspinwall.
Oh, he ducked under a swinging arm there.
Last tackle, stab to the in goal early, another try. Pick anyone a free. Tickle thinks he scored it. The referee wants to check the offside. And this could be a second try in quick succession for Wigan. And there are anxious faces in the Warrington jerseys now.
Great option there from Newton. They're all on side. Who gets there first? Interesting to see.
It is Tickle. He's lost it.
No try. No doubt about it. Had the opportunity. It was a beautifully weighted kick from the hooker, Newton. And Tickle could have really set this game alight. Now, is it Tickle's hand or is it another? Well, I think it's a Wigan hand anyway. Yeah, it's a Wigan player that has actually denied Tickle the try.
Yes, it was Permany 1 from 3. There were 3 of them chasing it. Offside was no problem, but that is a problem because it's been knocked on over the line.
N-O-T-R-Y, that's for sure.
And Warrington will restart from the 20-metre mark.
Wait for me, man. Wait for me.
Too many cooks boiling the broth there, and Tickle thought he had it, and it was a stray arm.
Well, Wigan have upped the intensity in Millwood, haven't they?
Rucks, and I know Craig Smith come up with a couple of drop balls earlier. He's probably made more clean breaks in this game than he's made for a while, and I think his go forward's been tremendous. Him and O'Connor have really lifted him here in the second half, and they've got some field position, and it's given Terry Newton an opportunity to win the ruck area, and he's done very well there, Terry. They've been very disappointed there. Terry's kicked from dummy half, so everyone's on side, and over anxious or whatever you want to call it, but it's cost them 6 points. I think that'll be big in the wash-up.
Well, you know, Ian, the importance of the forwards getting across that advantage line. They're starting to do that, Wigan, now, aren't they?
Well, they're starting to win the battle against their opposition front row, and this has been very telling now, especially with some of their quicker people around the rucks. The question I like to pose, Steve-O, will Lamb come back on? Is he injured, or is it tactical? Because for them to get back in the game now, they need Lamb. It was shown by the pass by Radlinski, back on the inside for Smith for that try. That was a la Lamb special. This is the time to bring him on. Is he fit, or is it a coach's decision?
Well, the word from Bill was that there is no injury for Adrian Lamb. That was earlier in the first half, and he has been conspicuous by his absence. And Warrington have come up with a penalty here. Forshaw with hand in the ruck.
Hands in on the ball.
Really shouldn't have given that away. He's been around long enough as Mr. Forshaw. Just losing their concentration somewhat with the Wolves. They can't really just sit back and say we've got enough.
First.
That will be suicide.
Biting the nails, the Wigan fans. Here is Sculthorpe. Great shout of forward from the crowd. It never was. Sculthorpe to his feet, plays the ball to Newton. Back on the inside to Farrell on that angled run. And he offloads to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin finds Danny Tickle. Tickle gives it to Newton, dumped back to Farrell. Farrell taking on the defensive line again, forced back by Mark Gleeson. Terry Newton, Danny Sculthorpe, spinning away, and the ball going back and picked up by Breers. And Lee Breers, ankle tap by Farrell, not completed the tackle. Now it is by Radlinski.
He was away there. Farrell just got his ankle. That looked a high shot as well. Newton going for the hunt.
Wainwright stands.
No panic. Warrington are beginning to do that. They've got to just get their composure sorted out.
Here is Nathan Wood. Another jinking run. He's beaten 4 of them. He's beaten 5 of them. Flicks it inside to Lightfall. Lightfall helps it on then. And this now is Paul Wood. And what a tackle needed by Gareth Hopp. The crowd at the backs of Warrington urging them forward. Breers, great ball. Great tackle by Brett Dallas.
Unbelievable try saver there.
He nearly dragged Brent Gross over the line. Last one, stab through. Wood is there. No try. The referee will have a look at it because Wood is claiming it was a Wigan hand that got to it first.
Well, he's been everywhere, this fella, hasn't he?
Nathan Wood thinks he scored the hat-trick here.
Does he touch it and does he get it round right?
Well, they're all onside.
They're all onside, that's okay. So we'll just tick that one off. Okay, let's roll it. No, I think Wood got a hand to that. Not there, but the one before. This is one that'll tell. Yeah.
Was it a Wigan hand?
No, I think it's Nathan.
Or was it Nathan Wood?
I think it's Nathan Wood's.
Little flick on the, I think the black armband tells the story.
Just there.
There.
Yeah. Not much in it. Just there, just a little fingertip. And then the Wigan hand from O'Loughlin goes through. It'll be knock on. It'll be restarting the 20.
Well, Ray Tennant is tonight's video referee.
Well, you can
both
see,
hands are there.
Yeah, but you can see the black armband, the wristband.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, and he touches it first, and then O'Loughlin comes through. Well, surely this is no try.
Well, they are still having a look. Ray Tennant wants to have a look again.
Well, if Nathan Wood has trimmed his nails, he probably denied himself.
Well, this is a big call.
No try. You can see quite clearly that he's got it. Well,
they're not happy. They want to keep studying this because they know how important this is.
You can see the fingertip, right? They'll stop it just as the fingers hit it.
There. Or is it O'Loughlin who gets the hand to it?
No, I think it's Nathan Wood. I'll go for no try, which probably would mean that it'll go TRY right around this ground, and this crowd will go bananas.
Well, the crowd impatient, but they have to get this right. As I say, this is an absolutely huge call.
Yeah, I think the fingertip of Wood just before. Not much in it, split second. It's frame by frame, no try.
It's absolutely vital. That's why they're taking their time.
There, look.
Well, I was with you. I thought Wood
so do
did,
I.
But and then I looked again as Ray Tennant looked, and I saw the hand from O'Loughlin. But
well, I
the
think
Warrington crowd singing it's a try.
What's the fingertips of the one lowest? There.
Yes, I think that does tell the story.
Yeah. This will be no try, restart 20 metres. Boy. Dennis Betzel is waiting. He knows a try here. At this point in time, it's curtains.
It is such an important call.
There. Well, I think it quite... You can't see whether Sean O'Loughlin has got a fingertip to it, but you can see that Nathan Wood has. So therefore, you've got to say...
Well, he never touched it there.
No, he never touched it there. Now he wants to see whether he grounded it. If he's looking to see whether he's grounded it, all right, then it's going to be a try. But I think if it's a try, he's got it wrong. Nothing wrong with that. It looks as though, to me, by following on, he's going to give the try. I can't believe it.
Well, Nathan Wood waiting. Has he got a hat-trick? Yes, he has. His first ever hat-trick, Nathan Wood. And that could just win the match for Warrington.
Well, that has amazed me. Take nothing away from this man. He is in charge of this game, Nathan Wood.
And if a very, very tight decision comes along, we go back to benefit of the doubt to the attacking side. That's the only reason I can see that it's been given.
Well, to me, the finger of force, right? Lachlan gets to it eventually.
But the first knock on you thought was by Wood.
Well, you agree with me.
I agree with you earlier on.
I know it's rare. It makes no difference. It's fish and chip wrappers tomorrow. Well, he said, I'm going to get it. Any youngster watching, it's a wonderful example of playing to the whistle.
Absolutely. And Brea's here to re-establish a big lead for Warrington, which he does. It's 28 points to 6. And has that taken all the steam out of the Wigan revival?
I think you'd have to say yes.
But a hat-trick for Nathan Wood. That was it at normal speed.
No doubt about the placing of the hand onto it.
And he says it was pushed forward by Sean O'Loughlin, and the video referee agreed. And Wigan have it back from the short kickoff.
Well, that was the only option left to them, and they have to do something quick now.
Dallas skips out of one tackle.
We've got to see more from the two wingers as well. We've got to start hunting for the football. They really have wrapped up Andy Farrell well, the defensive line. They know that not once have they taken his dummy.
Danny Orr, Sean O'Loughlin, and Sean O'Loughlin taking them on. It was Mike Wainwright with the tackle. This is Danny Tickle.
5. Got to be a kick surely from Newton.
Newton to Danny Orr. Short ball, Radlinski over the top. Cassidy wide to Farrell. They must score here. Surely. Aspinwall for Wigan. They're in no hurry to celebrate, they just are in a hurry to take the conversion. They know time's against them, but Aspinwall's try does give them some hope.
They had to go for the power play, and they certainly did. Beautiful ball, wasn't it, from Danny Orr that put them through. He took the option. Gaskell just on the wrong foot. That's the ball from Danny Orr to the fullback Radlinski, and it was good work from Farrell. Good work to finish it off as well, Aspinwall. Caught one right across the face. Well, never say never, but I honestly thought that try, the hat-trick try for Nathan Ward, would have seen the heads go down, but full credit. Short kick-off, got the possession, they've come up with it.
And if this sails over from Farrell, they will have a bit of belief. Oh, what a kick from Andrew Farrell. It's not over yet. 28-12, Warrington with the advantage. Phil Clark.
Andy Farrell never fails to deliver when the pressure's on him. He came up with that kick, and it has given them that psychological boost of the extra 2 points, really. You're asking Wigan now, can you score and convert 3 tries in 20 minutes? Well, they're capable of doing that. The performance up to this point in the game, I don't think has been good enough for them to do it, but have they got the ability in their side to turn around that performance in the last 60 minutes and go on and improve it in the final quarter? I'm a great believer also in the fact that 50-50 decisions do tend to even themselves up over time. Thought Warrington perhaps a little unlucky. They had 2 video referee decisions that went against them last week, which were the right decisions, but luck's gone their way today with that one, and they've seen the try.
Well, remember on Saturday they gifted St Helens 12 points with 2 interceptions, Warrington. There's been no hint of that tonight, and it's been a real gutsy display from the Wolves, but they'll have to dig deep here because Wigan, they seem to think that there is something in this for them still, and it's Cassidy.
I'd like to pose a question to Ian Millwood. Ian, if you were the Warrington coach, would you close things down now? Would you settle for a 16-point lead?
Well, definitely not. They can't, because there's too much time on the clock. 3 tries in 20 minutes is definitely capable for any team to do. The other problem is they're making so much yardage now, Wigan, when they have the ball and they go forward. So they're always now on their late tackle coming up with an attacking kick on the Warrington line or an attacking option with the ball. And that's what's causing a lot of problems to Warrington now. They can't shut down at the moment. I've got a funny feeling Warrington are tiring. They're the ones tiring, and Wigan are having more possession of the ball, which the stats show it at this present time.
It's Warrington in possession though here with Chris Laikval. That's a good relieving run from the big prop forward, just what his coach would have wanted. It comes back to Nathan Wood, who goes for a 40-20. Radlinski's after it. Doesn't quite make the angle, but Radlinski will run the ball back, but there's a primrose yellow and blue wall ahead of him. A great chase.
Wonderful stuff. irrespective of the scoreline, Paul Cullen will be just over the moon at the way that their kick and chase game has excelled. He knows it's not over yet.
No, there's a quarter of this match remaining, just about. And as Ian Millwood says, 3 tries in 20 minutes. These two sides are both capable of scoring them.
But Wigan have got to start bringing in the winger, the speedies. They've got to start doing something. Quick and solid, quick play the ball. Catson, we know how good Dallas can do that from the dummy half.
Farrell with the kick down the line. And that will wend its way to the touchline, but Appo stops it from going out. And now Wigan look for the mistake from Graham Appo.
It bobbled as well, nearly lost that, did the winger.
Well, the big question up here on the gantry, Ian Millwood posed it. Where is Adrian Lamb? Bill, have you got the answer?
He's sitting on the side, Eddie, where he has been since fairly early in the game. But according to him, there is no injury, there's no illness, and there wasn't a problem before the game. So it's a bit of a mystery, but there's certainly no sign of him coming back on. He's all wrapped up and looking as though he's set to remain there for the remainder of the game.
Well, it is a mystery because Adrian Lamb, Ian Millwood, as you rightly know, he can unlock any defence.
Well, it's got to be an injury because otherwise he'd be warming up and down the sideline. Everyone is warming up when they're on the bench, getting ready to go into combat, so he's got to have an injury. Look, the thing is, he would unlock this Warrington team because he is so lethal around the rucks with his inside ball, outside ball, his little shrewd running, and they're starting to get momentum, Wigan, and that's why you'd have him on. He is the key, as I said earlier in the game about Sean Long. He's the quarterback for St Helens. Lamb's the quarterback for Wigan, so it's definitely got to be an injury.
Biggest problem, though, Ian, is the fact that Adrian Lammy really has not recovered from that serious knee injury, has he?
Well, I know Timmy Yonkers had the injury at the same time, knee construction, and he's still coming to grips with it at the moment. It takes an awful lot of time. He's had a lot of games lately, Adrian Lamb, and that could have took its toll. They're interchanging their forwards an awful lot here, Wigan, which they're trying to get a little bit of impetus over the top of the Warrington team. And this is where Paul Cullen's going to have to be careful too, because they're really trying to lift the level up. I just feel at the moment Wigan are winning a bit of field position.
Here's Mike Forshaw. You saw the scores going through the bottom of the screen. Leeds well in control against Salford, and it's a real scrap down at Griffin Park. Just 2 points in it between London and Castleford at the foot of the table. Here at Warrington, we've got about 16 minutes to go, and it's 28-12 to the Warrington Wolves. In possession here with Lee Breers. Running flat and a ball out wide to Wood, and it's picked up by Hodgson.
Well, they don't need to do that. This is beyond belief. They've got 16 points in front, and they're trying to be fancy. What on earth are they doing? We saw last week Lee Breers give away 2 silly intercept tries. Paul Cullen will be livid. He'll get the message out and say, what on earth are we doing here, boys?
Well, he's 15 yards away from us up here, and he has gone absolutely ballistic at that pass from Lee Breers. Furious as Wigan get the possession.
You don't need to do it. They're in control.
Danny Orr pops the ball up. Here's Craig Smith again. It was his try that lifted the Wigan Warriors. Cullen barking the instructions down the walkie-talkie. Danny Orr on the run, but it's with Newton, and he feeds O'Loughlin. And O'Loughlin is eventually wrestled down by John Clark. Gets the ball away. Penalty.
Didn't play correctly. Messing around.
Danny Orr's flat out, by the way.
He took a late one, did Danny Orr. It was Wainwright, I think, that took him.
The referee must have shouted hell, but how on earth he called hell there? Was he tackled?
No, he wasn't. Well, Danny Orr caught a beauty in back play, and I think it was Mike Wainwright that got to him. I don't know.
It wasn't held.
I think it was still moving. Watch Danny Orr.
Well, hey,
it's a shoulder, nothing dirty, but he just caught a beauty. He wasn't expecting that. You could see the mouth guard just bump out.
And he's in a bit of trouble here, is Danny Orr. And if Adrian Lamb is fit and nothing wrong with him, surely.
Well, he's got to come out now.
This is the time when he must come out.
Well, is he warming up? Has he got the tracksuit off?
Tracksuit on.
Don't think so. Danny Orr is in all sorts of trouble.
Well, has he got the shampoo out? Is he going to have a bath? Or Danny Orr's finished for this game by the looks of that.
And Gareth Hock is the man who's coming off the bench.
Nothing wrong. He just used the shoulder, and maybe the knee made contact into Danny Orr's knee. That is the reason why he's been carted from the field of play. It's been a good night for this fella Danny Orr. They've kept a pretty tight control of him. Same with Andrew Farrell, the linchpin.
And of course, at the end of all that, it is a penalty to Warrington in front of their own sticks.
Okay, mate.
Because the referee called the 5th tackle, and Wigan tried to offload. That's a relieving penalty for the Wolves.
Well, it gives them also time to just compose themselves. He really has improved, this fella, you know, the second row, Mike Wainwright. He's playing out of his skin this year. Nothing wrong with that. Right across the chest.
The referee disagrees with you.
Well, I know he's been caught many times, but there was nothing wrong with that.
Back here, Lee, behind me.
Right across the chest. Never even touches the face. Never even touches the neck. We know he's got away with plenty in the past, but there was nothing wrong with that.
The reaction of the crowd maybe got that penalty for Warrington. This is Wainwright.
Eddie, I think that probably sums up Wigan's night, really. They haven't had the luck that's gone their way. They're again a penalty. Those 2 penalties back-to-back, really, have got Warrington from on their own line, which could have almost been a great position for Wigan to attack with a penalty against O'Loughlin to comfortably up to the halfway line. And you can see here now, I think that the nerves ease, really, when the Warrington camp, when they move away from their own line and get close to halfway and well over it.
They're over it with Hilton. Tackled by O'Loughlin. Here is Nathan Wood, and this is Warren Stevens. He tried to offload in an impossible position, and he's given it to Craig Smith, and Steve-O will say they don't have to do this.
I can't believe this.
It's Warrington who are ahead on the scoreboard. Quick hands. Oh, a knock on, picked up by Breers. Knock on by Radlinski.
You expect that from Wigan because they're playing catch-up football. Paul Cullen will be getting that message out. I've told you, get it right into a good position and then use the kick yet again. Just keep turning Wigan around.
Breers.
Basic.
Apo.
They've done all the fancy stuff to give them that commanding lead.
3 tackles gone, 3 remaining. They're 5 metres away from the Wigan line, Warrington. It's with Lee Breers. He gives it to Mark Hilton. And Mark Hilton, with all the strength, gets them to within 2 of the line.
1 point, perhaps. Is it a field goal effort? No.
No. Breers will slide the kick through. And Hodgson runs the ball with help over the dead ball line. That's better, Paul Cullen will say.
He won't. Paul Cullen knows the realisation that field position was so instrumental in the control in this game early in the match.
Drop out from underneath the sticks.
Just another set of 6. Bump it back, keep turning the cherry and whites around.
Mike Forshaw knows that. He's at dummy half. Will take the tackle. Good completion rate for Warrington.
It's been a good team effort, you know, from the Wolves tonight.
Wood pops it up to Stevens.
We've had the star, Nathan Wood, no doubt about it. Surely they can't give the watch to anyone else on the little half-back.
Unless Wigan come back and win it. Breers on one of those runs.
If Wigan scored 10 tries in the remaining minutes, Eddie, it would be difficult to take it away from Nathan Wood after his performance.
There's a few candidates out there. He is one of them.
Well, that's the point I was making. The team effort, they've worked hard for each other, both in attack and defence.
Will Breers go for the 1 point here? No, pulling it wide to Nathan Wood. He's after 4. He gives it to Westwood. They went for the power play on the last. Why not? They're
Yeah, they're
5 metres away from the Wigan line on the turnover.
It's as good as a kick.
Oh, and a knock-on by Wigan. David Hodgson. Knock-on on the first tackle. The first play of the ball.
Oh. Just left it. Just a little bit. It's sufficient. Doesn't have to go a mile.
One more in the scrum.
Well, you'd have to say that Wigan have not played to their potential, but
Warrington have.
Yeah, well, that's
and here's Forshaw, and it's Wood.
The reason being is that Warrington have been so good. They haven't allowed Wigan any room to move at all.
Forshaw, dummy half. Fires the pass back inside. That was Noon, he helps it on. Movement from Lee Briers! Briers for Warrington, and that will do. It's a glorious night for the Warrington Wolves. They've lost 9 in a row to Wigan. Paul Cullen has manufactured a victory after the dismantling of his team by St Helens last week. And Lee Briers, well, they've had the birthday cake going. This is just the icing.
This was a shocker, wasn't it? David Hodgson coming up with the error, and full credit. You know, Lee Briers has been quite happy just to be the architect with a kicking game, providing the passes. This is the first real opportunity he's taken. He's left that to his half-back partner, Nathan Wood. But what a way to finish. Good work by Forshaw, pulled in the defence, swung it out. See how he used the winger Gaskell coming back on the inside. That's the dummy runner. It's all over, Robert. The Wolves.
Lee Briers with the try. He needed only 3 goals for 500 in the weekly rounds before this match. He's claimed those, and he's now claimed 4 points, which surely will secure the priceless 2 points in the Tetley Super League for the Warrington Wolves. And the limping hero, Nathan Wood, a hat-trick of tries. And this win, as it surely will be now for Warrington, will breathe life back into their season. Had they lost here, it would have been so difficult to make it into the playoffs again. Briers strokes the ball over the edge. Look at this scoreline, 34-12. Warrington season's back on track. 6th last year, betted only once in the Super League era when they finished 5th in 1996 in pre-grand final days. And it is a famous, famous win, this, for Warrington and Paul Cullen.
And isn't it great to see? We've often mentioned it over the years that the faithful fans here in Warrington, they've gone through thick and thin, but tonight they are played to their potential. And you're right, Eddie, Paul Cullen has worked hard. What they didn't do last week and the week before, they've certainly done it tonight.
Well, he said that their training this week has intensified. It's been a very, very serious week for Warrington.
Well, I spoke to him after the game last week, and he said, I've got to try to get it through to these players, to have the confidence, the will, to know that once you start to win, it can become a habit just like losing. Well, they have got the springboard tonight. The tails are up.
The kick from John Clark, fine touch. That will be cheered to the rafters. It's a sweet moment for John Clark, former Wigan player, of course. Darrell Cardis, Dean Gaskell, Mike Forshaw, the other quartet of ex-Wiganers. It's a great night for Warrington, Ian Millwood.
It's a fantastic night for Warrington. They've deserved everything they've done tonight. They've actually come up with some errors here, Wigan, which halted their momentum and gave Warrington field position, and they've absolutely punished them here in the last bit. It's very interesting when the ball gets in the hands of people like Nathan Wood, John Clark, that they have more control and composure in their game. It's a fantastic game, Wood. I just think they've got 2 very good hookers here, Warrington, in Clark and Gleeson, that create a lot of doubt. It's been a very committed performance, and even though they looked a little bit shaky in the second half, there'll be some things there the coach can say, look, in this situation next time we could probably handle it better. They've been the dominant team, and they've deserved everything they've got here tonight. And at the moment, Wigan are really out of sorts here at the later part.
Indeed so, and Dallas, who destroyed them in the semi-final, has not been given an inch. And he's just come up with the error that's gifted this possession back to Warrington. This is Wainwright. Big game from Wainwright, big game from Forshaw, big game from Wood, big game from Briers, big game right across the park for Warrington.
Been unbelievable.
Hilton.
Their enthusiasm, Hilton leading the way. What they've lacked over the previous weeks is that they've struggled to get over the advantage. They've struggled to turn the defensive line around, but not tonight. They've got it spot on.
Briers with the kick. Cardis is after this, but it's swept up by Hodgson.
Good positioning, but yet again the Wolves just applying that pressure.
Well, let's find out who has got the Man of the Match award in the Tissot watch. Here's Dave Hatfield. It's a big job for you tonight, Dave.
It's been a night when anybody who's attacked the right-hand side of the Wigan defence has looked like a world beater at times. The two Mikes, Wainwright and Forshaw, they've both been terrific. But the man of the match has to be Nathan Wood, not just for his 2 tries, he's been at the heart of everything. A truly outstanding performance.
Nathan Wood is the man of the match then. He goes home with the watch. He's going home, more importantly, with the 2 Super League points. Farrell will attack the line. Farrell will attack the line. The pass inside. Consolation for Wigan, maybe. From Gareth Hock. Oh, did he get that down?
Have a look at that. See if he got it down.
Did Gareth Hock get that down?
I think he did.
What a run from Farrell.
It needed it as well. Does he spin around? I don't think he does, you know.
He does now, but
it's in the field of play. Now then, is that on the whitewash? Simmon did well, didn't he? Just pulled him back. Steve Ganson did the right thing. This will prove one way or the other. Just can't get it there. Sibbitt's hand is underneath it.
I don't think he's got that down.
Well, he does eventually, but I think it's out of the field of play. He pulls him back. There it's down. And there it's down. Well, does he give the try? I think he might. It went backwards.
The movement was all the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it went backwards. Hawks. Yeah, it's been reefed away by the Warrington player. Now then, is that full control?
Or is it a double movement?
It's been enough. Well, it can't be because it came off the Warrington. I'm going to go for try here to Hawk. It'll only be consolation. The game's won anyway for Warrington.
5th tackle to the attack. Right on the line then. Or back on the 10-metre line anyway. No try. No consolation. Last tackle then for Wigan. Chip over the top, and Wigan will get a set of 6 again. But more importantly, they wanted the 4 points.
A good option as well. If there's one man in the Wigan outfit tonight that has really stood up and put in a good hit, it's been Terry Newton. But Paul Cullen knows deep inside that all that hard work during the week on the training paddock certainly has worked. He wanted to instill into these players' minds that they do have the ability to be world-class rugby league players. On tonight's performance, who could argue with that?
The enthusiasm from Warrington has been effervescent from the very first whistle.
And that point I was making, Eddie, is that Terry Newton, amongst all the stars, has been about the only one that's really shone. Hawk, when he came on, he's done his bit. But look at that one line of defence. Warrington know they've got the 2 points in the back and 2 vital points, I might add.
Absolutely. Castleford, 21st of March, their last victory. They're going to get in this time through Mark Smith. Wigan, the consolation arrives in the end. But the last home win for Warrington on the 21st of March against Castleford. The referee still hasn't given this. And he's given it again to the video referee. He's checking now whether there's an obstruction in back play.
So wait and see. No, it's gone through the hole. This will be all right. No funny about it. There was no way that John Clark could have got to the man anyway. Nice offload. Good work from Rydlinski. Full credit to them. Watch Clark move across on the right-hand side. No, that's all right. This will be given.
But it matters not in terms of the result. It just matters in terms of the margin of victory. Mark Smith, has he got the try this time? He has. Consolation arrives for Wigan.
Well, on about 4 or 5 occasions throughout this game, Wigan's inside pass has started to create a bit of a problem for this Warrington defence. Well, there's little doubt on the minds of these fans here, the Warrington faithful, that this is a night to savour. Farrell adds the 2.
Yes, Andrew Farrell adds 2 more points to the Wigan total 34-18, but Phil Clark, a comprehensive Warrington win.
It is, I think, that Warrington have played this way throughout the season, really, but on some occasions have lost matches. It's good to see a side, really, with the patience to stick with the way that they've played in other games. They haven't deviated from that, and tonight he's come up with a win for them. They've played a very confident brand of rugby, and a very skillful one as well, and it is good to watch as a neutral spectator. I think really for Wigan, they've just got several players who aren't playing well at the moment, and they've managed to limp through some games and pick up points for wins. They haven't been good enough to do that here tonight.
Cassidy, but again, this enthusiastic chase from the kick-off by Warrington. No way through for Wigan. Takes something very special to open up this Warrington defence tonight. Well, Wigan home to St Helens next Friday. Come back from this against the team playing the most attractive rugby league in the business at the moment. It's a big ask.
Oh, it's another mistake by Wigan. They've come up with an error. They've knocked on. No one wanted to continue on. The official Steve Gansett has come back. We'll put down the scrum. There's a buzz here. It's always great, you know. Brand new stadium. Wonderful. The fans have turned out in big.
And their top six bid is back on track. 34-6 leads over Salford, final score, and still just the 2 points in it down at Griffin Park. A couple of minutes to go. We'll try and get that scoreline to you before we go off air tonight if we can. It's a crucial match at Griffin Park. This has been for Warrington as well. Oh, and a bad band there for Paul Wood. Nathan Wood, Ben Westwood. 30 seconds remaining. Warrington will celebrate this victory. Nathan Wood looking for 4. He'll celebrate. He's man of the match. He's got the watch. Warren Stevens, still 2 tackles remaining. Have Warrington got anything else left? Clark stabs the kick through. Breers is in acres of space. Oh, Breers went down like a 10-pin. And he's hurt himself once more.
Oh, that'll be a bitter blow in the final seconds. Stop the clock.
Because there's a Warrington player, Lee Breers, on the try line. There's the final siren.
Well, that will be
a match over, but Breers, this is very worrying for Paul Cullen and the Warrington Wolves. Appo was limping heavily, Wood limping heavily, and now Breers flat out. And they're concerned about him.
It just epitomises the action of all the Warrington side tonight. That Breers right to the very final second. They wanted to come up with another try. He's moved.
He's lucid, he's talking, that's good news. But Warrington have won, and it's a famous victory for them. They've lost 10 in a row against Wigan before tonight. They put that record to bed. 34-18.
What is tough? A true definition, mind you. I'm talking about kicking down a door with only 1 bullet and 5 guys on the other side. Or pulling into oncoming traffic because the guy chasing you won't. God damn. It's 2 wires, and knowing if you cut the wrong one, you really are going home. Sky Movies has chosen films that define tough. The true definition. Sky Movies Tough at 10. Weeknights at 10.
Switch for a sharper, more responsive drive. New Astra Go Drive.
You know, scribbles like these are very revealing. She wants to try something new, but doesn't know what. She's frustrated, not a happy bunny. She should give Learn Direct a bell. Their free national learning advice line has bags of friendly, impartial advice on over 500,000 courses. so they'll find one that suits. Oh, very nice. Call Learn Direct on 0800 100 900 and see what you can achieve.
Welcome to the month. The entertainment CD-ROM from the Sunday Times. Kick off the summer with the ultimate guide to summer festivals. See the bands, read the stories, and find out who's playing where. There's also 8 new films to preview, including the latest Harry Potter. And 130 samples from June's biggest albums. It's the hottest month yet.
When you look in the mirror, you can instantly tell what's grey from what's great. There's a hair colour that can do the same. Just for Men. Just for Men targets only your grey hair, replaces it with subtle tones, like your own natural colour. Easy as shampooing. In 5 minutes, you'll go from grey to great with Just for Men.
Samsonite. Travel made easy.
Hi-ho! 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 Hi-ho!
Don't suppose I'd be much good at that.
Use your head. Teach.
Red and yellow and pink and green, purple and orange and blue. I can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow too. Listen with your eyes and listen with your ears and sing everything you see. I can sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing along with me.
What a great season this is developing into. Warrington, 34-18 winners over Wigan a week after being absolutely trounced by the Saints on this same ground. The man of the match, Nathan Wood with his hat-trick. We're going to hear from him now, and after that, Paul Cullen. First, though, the man who goes home with the watch.
Nathan, congratulations on a man of the match performance. It's been a long time coming for Warrington against Wigan. To do it like that must be so pleasing.
Yeah, very pleasing, mate. We've been struggling for a win for a while now. Injuries has taken its toll on us the first half of the year. So yeah, massive win.
Great celebration as well. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Tough.
Coach Paul Cullen. Well, like I said, I mean, Warrington have waited a long time to get one over on Wigan, and that was the way to do it, wasn't it?
There's a lot of baggage in our camp this week, Bill, from the way that we underperformed against a very good side in St Helens. Now, we'll temper our joy on the back of this performance as much as we tempered our despair on the back of what was a woeful effort in some parts last weekend. We'll hold our nerve. We ain't going to play, excuse me, head down, arse up. We ain't going to do it. We'll get this club to the level it deserves to be at, and we'll do that by being expansive and by being brave. And having a back row as good as we've had today, Noon and Wainwright and Forshaw were absolutely breathtaking. I think the half-backs and three-quarters are finally catching up with the effort that we're doing in the middle channel. And we're coming good. We've done it rough, we've done it tough, and we're coming good.
Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, Bill.
Looks a lot more relaxed now. This is the table, and as you can see, Castleford have beaten London tonight in the capital, so the gap at the bottom is 4 points. Leeds have beaten Salford. Leeds increase their lead for how long? Saints and Bradford tomorrow evening on Sky Sports. That's the way the table stands after 3 matches in this round of the Tetley Super League. What a season, and You just cannot predict a victory one way or the other. Warrington have come up with a great win here, and Ian Millwood tipped them from the very start of this programme tonight. You know something about the game then, don't you?
Well, I'd like to say I was had the knowledge, but I might have been lucky or whatever. But I've got to say, they say it's never the same unless you're here at the game, and the atmosphere here today was absolutely great. And isn't it great to see the games and the way the skill was displayed by both teams? And there was a team that had their backs to the wall here today, Warrington, and they come out and really put the effort in, and they got rewarded for it. Where we had a Wigan team that didn't get a lot of ball, and then when they did get it, they didn't use it to the best value. So, you know, the team, there's no arguments. The best team here today was Warrington, and they deserved that scoreline. And in the end, it probably ended up fairly flattering for Wigan.
Yes, a very important win, a very good win for Warrington, and Paul Cullen, he is doing, Steve-O, a fantastic job at this place.
Yeah, we mentioned quite often in that second half that Paul Cullen was disappointed last week. He has been for several weeks, saying that a lot of his players didn't believe in themselves. They certainly did. This fella did. Look at that. One dummy, Mr. Connolly out the way. Number 2, try Radlinski. Thank you very much indeed. As soon as he scored that after the restart, it was all over. There was never going to be any other winner, and it was well deserved by this Warrington side. As we often say, Wigan, they couldn't see the trees for the wood.
Well, we've got a very big match coming up tomorrow at Nosey Road. Saints Bradford, very quickly in. Another thriller?
Well, they are. Every week's a thriller, and it's so exciting to be involved. I know it's Saints. Every week's been a huge game for us. I think that's helped increase our intensity, increased our enjoyment, and our attitude's been fantastic all year. And the boys will be tucked up in bed now with their hot chocolate and their marshmallows, and their loved ones giving them a kiss goodnight and getting ready for tomorrow.
Good, we'll be there with them as well, but stay with us here on Sky Sports, because coming up next on Sky Sports 1, it's Poker Million. And over on Sky Sports 2 right now, live US Golf, Day 2 of the St Jude Classic. Plus, we have more Rugby League this weekend. Double dose tomorrow, Saturday 10:30 in the morning. Sky Sports 2, Newcastle, Melbourne. And don't miss St Helens, Bradford, Saturday night, 6 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. And we round the weekend off with Penrith, Canterbury on Sunday, and Hull Widnes Bank Holiday Monday at noon. Fantastic match here for Warrington tonight. Congratulations to them and Paul Cullen, Ian Millwood and Brian Noble, the Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger of the Rugby League. Head-to-head tomorrow. Don't miss it. Short for Warrington. First try for the Warrington Wolves. And here is Nathan Wood. He's broken through, and Wood will score for Warrington. Warrington are chasing another try here, and they're going to get one with Wainwright. What a break from Nathan Wood. He's got Gaskell.